Chapter 380. Ning Fan slept for a few days. His body had its own natal star to heal him. His injuries healed very quickly. However, the tough battle this time had really exhausted him mentally and physically, making him unable to wake up. During these few days, Bei Xiaoman was the only one who took care of him. She had almost dismissed all of her maids, leaving only one or two of them to help Ning Fan grind pills. Outsiders were not allowed to enter this place. Only Yalan was allowed to visit Ning Fan with Bei Xiaoman's permission. The battle between Ning Fan and Shimen Yi had shaken the entire northern heaven. This battle was even more shocking than killing Zi Chuan and Lin Su with Liu Bei's help. It was because the one who was defeated this time was not an ordinary genius but Emperor Shi. Even if it was just his spirit clone that was destroyed, how could his spirit clone be the same? It was a perfect copy of Emperor Shi's full strength when he was at the Divine Transformation Realm. To a certain extent, this spirit clone had Void Fragmentation Realm combat consciousness, making it slightly stronger than Emperor Shi who was at the Divine Transformation Realm. However, such a spirit clone was defeated by a cultivator from the mortal world who had a lower cultivation base. For a moment, Zhou Ming's reputation even overshadowed Liu Bei's. Unfortunately, no one knew that the two of them were actually the same person. Compared to the uproar in the northern heaven, Penglai Immortal Island was much more low-key. Not many people even knew that Ning Fan had left the Lost World Tower and returned to Penglai. Under Ning Fan's order, Liu and Shi dared not leak the news of Emperor Shi's defeat. Firstly, Ning Fan did not want to get into more trouble because of this. Secondly, he did not feel proud of defeating a spirit clone. On the contrary, it made him more aware of the huge gap between him and Emperor Shi. If he were to face Emperor Shi's true body, he might not even be able to last a single round. The result of the tough battle was to break through the bottleneck of the 4th level of the Jade Life Realm. While he was sleeping due to exhaustion, he was also stabilizing his body refinement realm. However, his sleeping posture was definitely unsightly. Ning Fan, who was bathed in blood, was stripped naked by Bei Xiaoman. She even personally helped him to take a bath. Ning Fan would never know about all of these. He would never know that a woman as arrogant as Bei Xiaoman would do something like a servant. If Bei Xiaoman's elder sisters were here and saw what she did, their eyeballs would certainly fall off. In her room, Bei Xiaoman was holding a towel. She carefully wrung it dry and wiped Ning Fan's body. Her face that was around 13 to 14 years old was now flushed. With her identity, it was impossible for her to touch any man's body. However, she was grooming Ning Fan every day, which was extremely rare. The sleeping Ning Fan looked like an ordinary young man. His eyebrows had a hint of heroic spirit, but his body was a little thin and weak. Bei Xiaoman touched Ning Fan's chest boldly. Then, she touched her own chest and scolded softly. "You dare to say that my chest is small? Yours is the one that is small. Among the cultivators, which one of them is as thin and weak as you? If I didn't know better, I would have thought that you are a gigolo." "That's right, you're a gigolo, a sugar baby of mine. A master wiping the body of a servant is a reward, a grace. You must thank me for my kindness." If it weren't for the fact that you were injured for this consort would rather bathe a dog than help you bathe. This stinky Zhou Ming. He's usually so fierce, but when he's asleep, he's so good-looking. Damn it, Bei Xiaoman muttered to herself and scolded softly. However, her hands were still carefully wiping Ning Fan's body. His upper body was still fine, but his lower body. What Bei Xiaoman hated the most was a hot object. That thing was obviously soft. Every time Bei Xiaoman endured her embarrassment and rubbed it with her soft hands, it would immediately stand up with blood. There was a time when Bei Xiaoman was half bending in front of the bed to help Ning Fan wipe his body. All of a sudden, that thing stood up and hit Bei Xiaoman's face, producing an ambiguous pa-pa sound. At that time, Bei Xiaoman was so angry that she almost had the urge to cut that thing with a pair of scissors. Humiliation. A great humiliation. She, Bei Xiaoman, was actually hit by a man's thing. If others find out about this, she would not be able to live anymore. You must have done it on purpose. Damn it. Damn it. Bei Xiaoman held the towel with her small hands and wiped Ning Fan's legs first. Eventually, she still had no choice but to wipe that thing. She clenched her teeth and closed her eyes. Then, she touched that thing with her small hands and rubbed it carefully. She did not know why, but every time she touched that thing, her body would feel hot and numb. It was an extremely uncomfortable feeling. Her mind was like a horse lantern, recalling the scenes when she met Ning Fan. When they first met, Ning Fan was full of injuries. He had just attained the harmonious spirit realm, but he claimed to be a fifth revolution pill master and insisted on entering the fifth floor of the Lost World Tower to cultivate. Bei Xiaoman gave Ning Fan a small test. She asked him to help her pick up her embroidered shoes and wear them. At that time, Ning Fan was really gentle. As a man, he was willing to bow down and wear shoes for a woman. Bei Xiaoman had to admit that from that moment onwards, Ning Fan was completely different from other men in her heart. Even though she did not like him yet, she could not help but pay attention to him. After that, Bei Xiaoman followed Ning Fan. He purposely showed her a live erotic scene, causing her Dao heart to shatter. I haven't truly comprehended the profound mysteries of the void. Currently, I still can't tell the difference between what is real and what is fake. However, I want to see the truth of this moonlight clearly. Ning Fan rarely calmed himself down and sat cross-legged in front of the window under the moonlight. He looked at the moonlight, deep in thought. His mind was filled with memories. When I was young, I would look at the moon. It was like a sugar cake. When he was young, he would watch the moon. The moon was like a jade plate. When cultivating, one would look at the moon, and the moon was like a precious ring. When one looks at the moon in a different state of mind, the moon will seem to be different. When one looks at the moon from different places, the moon will give a cultivator different feelings. Even though the time and space are different and the feeling that the moonlight gives me is different, this moon has always been the same since the beginning. If that's the case, the existence of the moon and man should be real. The moon is real. Ning Fan's eyes revealed a profound look. He looked at the moonlight again and fell into deep thought. Because the moon exists, it is real. Because the moonlight cannot be touched, it is illusory. However, even the illusory moonlight can also affect a cultivator's state of mind. It can make a cultivator from a foreign land feel a sense of loss. Illusory objects might not necessarily be unable to affect a person's heart. This is the power of the void. Even though the moon is real, the moonlight is illusory. My hometown is real, but the memories of my hometown are illusory. Reality, Ning Fan's temperament changed gradually. It became faintly discernible. He raised his hand and tried to grab the moonlight. However, he couldn't catch the moonlight. He sighed softly. I still can't catch the moonlight. If a cultivator who truly painstakingly cultivates the void inquiry stage can catch the moonlight as easily as catching a piece of silk, looking at the faintly discernible moonlight, Ning Fan suddenly had an impulse. He wanted to ignite the moonlight. If he could do that, he would be able to ignite the illusory objects and easily injure void refinement realm cultivators. Can I ignite the moonlight? Ning Fan suddenly stood up and stood under the moonlight. He closed his eyes and performed a hand seal with all 10 of his fingers. Traces of fiery light surrounded his body. He suddenly raised one of his fingers and pressed it against the moon in the night sky. The fire between his fingers was the yin-yang flame that was formed by the fusion of ice and fire. Its power was boundless. However, no matter how the flames burned, the moonlight remained the same. It was impossible for it to be burned. As expected, I can't ignite the moonlight. Perhaps one day when my cultivation base is strong enough, I can ignite the moonlight and create a magic technique that will shock the world. He could comprehend the transformation from nothingness to reality. However, he still needed to cultivate for a long time before he could comprehend the transformation from reality to nothingness. When Ning Fan was sensing the moonlight, there was also a lonely figure floating on a boat on the sea, looking at the sky full of moonlight. It was a middle-aged man with only one arm. He wore white robes and his face was full of vicissitudes. He carried a huge sword on his back. He sat alone under the moonlight, looking at the waning moon on the sea, the ebb and flow of the tide and the lonely scenery. He did not laugh nor cry. Who is she? Where is she? The man took out a blood-red gourd from his waist and gulped down a mouthful of it. Still, he did not laugh nor cry. Zhou Ming. This young man is extremely ruthless and cold when facing his enemies. However, he is kind to mortals. This young man has the guts to kill the revered elder of the Rain Palace and massacre the entire external Endless Sea. He is an extremely audacious person. I have already left a letter in the Lost World Palace, preparing to test this young man and grant him the revered elder token. Is this young man really a bloodthirsty devil? The white-robed middle-aged man was sitting alone on the boat. While he was panicking, a nascent soul realm ferocious beast that was even larger than a mountain emerged from the dark sea, glaring at him. Roar! Apparently, this ferocious beast wanted to devour this white-robed middle-aged man along with the boat. The white-robed middle-aged man's eyes turned cold. An extremely terrifying sword intent spread out from his body. His cold eyes swept across the nascent soul realm ferocious beast. Scram or die. With just a gaze, the nascent soul realm ferocious beast's demon core suddenly shattered. Its eyes were filled with extreme fear. It could already tell that the white-robed middle-aged man in front of it was a terrifying figure that it absolutely could not provoke. With just a gaze, he could crush its demon core. With just a gaze, he could even subdue a divine transformation realm and void refinement realm cultivators. Woo! The ferocious beast let out a respectful growl and obediently dived back into the sea, not daring to disturb the white-robed middle-aged man while he was drinking. This man is very terrifying. White-robed sword god, Yun Tianjue. Chapter 381. Bei Xiaoman finally understood what it felt like to be raped 18 times. Oh my god. She had just been pushed down by Ning Fan for the third time and she had already shamelessly begged for mercy. Her swollen body was unbearably painful. In the end, Ning Fan let her go. She couldn't imagine that Ning Fan was still able to push her down even though she had raped him 18 times in a row. Did you take aphrodisiac? Ah, I was wrong. I won't dare to resist you anymore. Bei Xiaoman scolded and begged at the same time. She really couldn't take it anymore. This was her first time. I need to take aphrodisiac. Do you think my yin-yang transformation is made of white? Finally, Ning Fan spared Bei Xiaoman's life. If I don't teach this little girl a good lesson, she would certainly turn the world upside down in the future. Just like that, Bei Xiaoman fell into a deep sleep with the help of a few maids, a sweet smile on her face. After a night of pleasure, he walked down the southern tower. One could imagine how hard the two spirits severing old ancestors, Stone Warrior and Lu Qing, were to accept the reality. His entire body was filled with Bei Xiaoman's body fragrance. There was also the unique scent of having sex. Do you even need to ask what happened between them? Fellow Taoist Zhou, you and the fourth young miss. Lu and Shi both had the heart to kill each other. Nothing happened between me and Xiaoman. Do you believe me? Ning Fan asked with a smile. I don't believe you. Really? Ning Fan declined to comment. He was not a frivolous person who would flaunt the pleasure he had under the bed. He wanted to relax while Bei Xiaoman was asleep. After she woke up, there were still some things he needed to do. Before he left the southern tower, divine god Lu Qing secretly passed him a jade card. There was only one sentence in the post. If you pass my test, you will receive the elder's order. Cloud. That handwriting was arrogant and domineering, but it also had a hint of melancholy. According to the rules of the Rain Palace, even if one had become a revered elder, he would still need to pass the test of at least one void fragmentation realm expert in order to obtain the token of revered elder, the revered elder token. Originally, Ning Fan thought that Luo Jun would at most promise him a title. The token of the venerable elders would only be tested and obtained when he went to the Rain Palace of the Middle State in the future. Who would have thought that he would have the chance to obtain the elder token? However, Ning Fan did not know which void fragmentation realm expert of the Rain Palace would look for him and grant him the token of respect for the elderly. Outside the southern tower, the sun was shining brightly. Ning Fan bathed in the sunlight, slightly calming his emotions that were experiencing the ups and downs of his emotions. Bei Xiaoman's taste is really good. Ning Fan could not help but admit that Bei Xiaoman was his quarrelsome lover. After playing around with her for a while, he unknowingly found it hard to forget her. He actually fell in love with this unruly and willful little girl. It was really ridiculous. But who could live without being ridiculous? After he woke up, he learned from Bei Xiaoman's personal maidservant that Bei Xiaoman had used half a piece of black crystal to heal his injuries. Only Ning Fan knew what that crystal was. It was the item that Bei Xiaoman's elder sister, Yuan Yao, had given to Bei Xiaoman through Ning Fan. After a few twists and turns, it had returned to Ning Fan. Speaking of which, not only did Ning Fan have a relationship with Yuan Yao, but he also took Bei Xiaoman as his wife. He was really a little lawless. However, he was such a lawless person. The only thing he could do was to treat every woman who had feelings for him well. The woman he loved had never asked him for a promise. This was the reality of the cultivation world. Along the way, Ning Fan had been constantly walking on the edge of death. Perhaps one day, he might die. Perhaps, every woman would have been aware of the fact that Ning Fan might die one day when they promised their body and soul to Ning Fan. All of them had considered the possibility that Ning Fan might die one day. As a cultivator, it's already hard enough to struggle to live on. If I want to live happily, it's even more luxurious. If I can meet someone who knows me and loves me while I'm alive, my death will not be in vain. The life of a cultivator is filled with killings and storms. Life and death are up to the heavens. We float along with the waves and only get drunk today. Get drunk. I remember that there are 3 major forces in this Penglai Immortal Island. Other than the Lost World Palace, there's also the Pill Cauldron Gate and the Green Bamboo Palace. The Pill Cauldron Gate has already been subdued by me. There are only a few old friends in it. It's the same whether I go or not. As for the Green Bamboo Palace, it's known as the #1 winemaking sect in the external Endless Sea. However, I've never been to Penglai Immortal Island before. What a pity. If I want to get drunk today, I can go there to buy some spiritual wine. Unfortunately, good wine is easy to get, but it's hard to find a drinking buddy. I have countless beauties but only a few brothers. Ning Fan walked on the Penglai Immortal Island without flying or riding on an immortal mount. He just walked on foot. His pace was slow, but every step he took covered a huge distance. The distance of tens of thousands of li from the Black Tortoise City to the Green Bamboo Palace only took him 100 breaths. Moreover, he had purposely slowed down his speed. When the cultivators along the way saw Ning Fan's terrifying speed, each of them looked as if they had seen a ghost. They rubbed their eyes, trying to see Ning Fan's figure clearly. However, they could not find any traces of Ning Fan at all. They just thought that their eyes were playing tricks on them. When he arrived outside the Green Bamboo Palace, he noticed that the palace seemed to be holding a banquet. As long as one paid a certain amount of immortal jade, one could enter the banquet. It was really a coincidence. He did not want to cause panic among the cultivators. Currently, there was almost no one in the external Endless Sea who did not recognize Ning Fan's appearance. Ning Fan flicked his sleeves and wiped his face. Using the sense-concealing art that he had not used for a long time, he turned into a white-robed scholar. As soon as he stepped into the entrance of the Green Bamboo Palace, he was stopped by a ferocious-looking man. "Stop right there." Those who wish to enter the banquet need to pay immortal jade and get a bamboo token of the corresponding grade. Depending on the grade of the bamboo token, you can taste the spiritual wine of different grades at will. The higher the grade of the bamboo token, the better the spiritual wine you can drink. Of course, you can only taste each wine once. If you want to drink it again, you need to pay immortal jade to buy it. The burly man looked at Ning Fan with disdain. This burly man's name was Chao Kong. He was an early harmonious spirit expert. With his experience as a harmonious spirit expert, he actually did not sense any strong magical power from Ning Fan. Immediately, he deduced that Ning Fan was probably just a vein opening junior. A vein opening junior was nothing in a low-grade cultivation country. His status was even lower in the Endless Sea. Such a person also wanted to enter the Green Bamboo Palace. Did he know how much immortal jade it would cost to enter the palace? Bamboo token. Can I trouble fellow Taoist to introduce the different grades of the bamboo token and the fees? Ning Fan naturally noticed the disdain in Yen Zhong's eyes, but he just dismissed it with a smile. He was already used to a harmonious spirit young man. Now, he would not be so bored to get angry with a harmonious spirit junior. Fellow Taoist? You are not allowed to call me fellow Taoist. The burly man said with displeasure. Then, he thought, why should I get angry with a vein opening junior? I am a harmonious spirit old monster with a high status. With this thought, the burly man's anger subsided a little. He allowed Ning Fan to call him whatever he wanted. Yellow grade bamboo token, 1000 immortal jade. The highest one can drink is a second grade spirit wine. Profound grade bamboo token, 10,000 immortal jade. The highest one can drink is a third grade spirit wine. Earth grade bamboo token, 100,000 immortal jade. The highest one can drink is a fourth grade spirit wine. Heaven grade bamboo token, 1,000,000 immortal jade. The highest one can drink is a fifth grade spirit wine. The burly man listed all the bamboo tokens in detail. He was secretly surprised because of Ning Fan's reaction. Ordinary cultivators would more or less show some surprise on their faces when they heard this frightening price. 1,000 immortal jade was expensive for a harmonious spirit cultivator. 10,000 immortal jade was expensive for a gold core cultivator. 100,000 immortal jade was expensive for a nascent soul cultivator. 1,000,000 immortal jade was expensive for a spirit severing cultivator. Even many gold core and nascent soul seniors would slightly change their expression when they heard this price. However, Ning Fan's expression did not change after hearing this price. This kind of calmness was definitely not an act. It was the indifference of someone who had experienced countless big events. The burly man secretly speculated. Could it be that this white-robed scholar in front of him is a peerless expert? No. Impossible. He is just a young boy. How can he be a peerless expert? He is probably a young master of some clan who has no concept of money at all. With this thought, the burly man despised Ning Fan even more. There is no doubt about it. Ning Fan has soft skin and tender flesh. No matter how I look at him, he is a young master. He is just a vein-opening realm cultivator and he dares to wander around Penglai Immortal Island alone. Isn't he afraid of being killed and robbed? Sure enough, he is a young master who has never seen the world. He doesn't even know what immortal jade is. Ignoring the burly man's speculation, Ning Fan closed his eyes and spread his spirit sense. His void refinement realm spirit sense covered 100,000 li. That's right. After his cultivation base had a breakthrough, his spirit sense had also broken through to the void refinement realm. Nothing in the Green Bamboo Palace could hide from Ning Fan's eyes and ears. After scanning the place with his spirit sense, he found out that the so-called fifth-grade spiritual wine could only help early spirit-severing realm cultivators improve their cultivation base a little. To be more precise, it was a medicinal wine. It did not attach much importance to the taste of the wine. The fourth-grade and third-grade spiritual wine were brewed for nascent soul realm and gold core realm cultivators respectively. Even the second grade and first grade spiritual wine were brewed for harmonious spirit realm and vein opening realm cultivators. Apart from that, there were some mortal wines that were not even in the first grade. They had no medicinal power at all. Most of them were famous brews in the mortal world. Ning Fan's eyes lit up. What he wanted to drink now was the mortal wine that had no medicinal power. He did not want to cultivate but to get drunk. I want a yellow rank bamboo token. Here is 1,000 immortal jade. Ning Fan finally decided to exchange for a yellow rank bamboo token. Of course, he could exchange for a heaven rank bamboo token. However, it would be too eye-catching. After all, those who exchange for a heaven rank bamboo token were all spirit severing realm cultivators. Thank you. 1,000 immortal jade. The burly man finally squeezed out a smile. At least he was sure of one thing. That was, Ning Fan was richer than a harmonious spirit realm cultivator even though he was just a vein opening realm junior. Didn't he see that Chao Kong was still guarding the door and had no money to drink? A vein opening realm junior was willing to spend 1,000 immortal jade to buy wine. He really didn't know how his elders taught him. Is this how money is spent? While cursing in his heart, Chao Kong realized that Ning Fan would be a good fat sheep. He rolled his eyes and suddenly came up with an idea. He handed Ning Fan a yellow rank bamboo token and flattered Ning Fan. Little friend, this is a yellow rank bamboo token. I wonder if you need a guide to bring you to taste good wine. I am not talented, but I am willing to bring you to the palace for a tour. Oh. Fellow Taoist wants to bring me to the Green Bamboo Palace? How can I accept fellow Taoist's kindness? Ning Fan's eyelids twitched. With his 500 years of wisdom, he could naturally see through Chao Kang's intention. Hee, you deserve it, you deserve it. I feel like old friends at the first sight of you. I really regret not having met you earlier. It's just that I'm short of money. If you're willing to help me buy a yellow level bamboo plate, I'll definitely bring you around the Green Bamboo Palace and make your trip worthwhile. Chao Kang vowed. So that's how it is. That's good. Wine is tasteless when you are alone. Come with me. I will help you pay for this 1,000 immortal jades. Ning Fan didn't care about Chao Kang's thoughts or the 1,000 immortal jades. In Chao Kang's eyes, it was ridiculous for Ning Fan to be cheated of 1,000 immortal jades. In Ning Fan's eyes, it was ridiculous for Chao Kang to scheme for a mere 1,000 immortal jades. Immortal jades? Killing a few people would earn tens of millions of immortal jades. Was there a need to be so tired? Oh, little friend is really willing to buy this bamboo token for me. Chao Kang suddenly felt a bit guilty. He felt that as a dignified harmonious spirit senior, deceiving a vein opening junior was too shameless. This guilt made Chao Kang decide to bring Ning Fan to drink a few types of good wine later. At least, he couldn't let Ning Fan spend 1,000 immortal jades in vain. Ning Fan saw Chao Kang's expression and nodded with satisfaction. This Chao Kang was greedy and cunning, but it was only because he was forced by life. His nature wasn't bad. Being able to mend his ways and be a drinking buddy was enough. My name is Chao Kang. May I know little friend's name? Chao Kang asked enthusiastically. This time, he was really enthusiastic. Yun Fan. Ning Fan remembered that his surname was Yun, so he made up a fake name. After exchanging his name, Chao Kang happily handed over the task to the harmonious spirit attendants. He then followed Ning Fan into the Green Bamboo Palace to drink. The other harmonious spirit attendants revealed an envious expression when they saw that Chao Kang had found a rich man. After Ning Fan and Chao Kang entered the Green Bamboo Palace, two ladies dressed like young ladies, one in blue and the other in green, followed behind them. 12 young maids followed behind them as they arrived outside the Green Bamboo Palace. Each of the young maids revealed their vein opening cultivation while the two young ladies revealed their harmonious spirit cultivation. However, this was just a disguise. The two young ladies were actually spirit severing old ancestors. The lady in blue was holding an oil paper umbrella. She had a gentle appearance and didn't say a word. It seemed like she had a lot on her mind and didn't want to talk. However, after Ning Fan entered the green bamboo palace, he gently raised his head and looked at the palace with a thoughtful expression. His eyes flickered slightly. Sister Tantai, what are you looking at? Is that vein opening junior very good looking? The other lady in green teased. Nothing, I'm just a little concerned. That young master seems to be extraordinary. The lady with the umbrella pursed her lips and smiled. Sister must be joking. He's just a vein-opening junior. How extraordinary can he be? Speaking of which, aren't we representing the Purple Mansion Academy to recruit the vice sect master of the Baiyao sect? Why did we come to the Green Bamboo Palace? Could it be that sister wants to drink too much? You're so smart. Yes, I want to drink too much. Sister Green Bead, do you want to complain to master? Ouch, I wouldn't dare. Green Bead bought a heaven-grade bamboo plate while Miss Tantai bought a yellow-grade bamboo plate. They actually made the same choice as Ning Fan. Unfortunately, because Green Bead bought a heaven bamboo plate, many cultivators guessed that she was a spirit-severing old ancestor. No one dared to look down on this group of ladies anymore. Miss Tantai's wish to drink in a low-key manner was shattered. This group of people was even personally received by the palace master of the Green Bamboo Palace. How could they be low-key? Not long after the ladies entered the Green Bamboo Palace, a white-robed middle-aged man with a weathered face and a sword on his back appeared outside the palace. He looked at the ladies thoughtfully. Which righteous genius of the Purple Mansion Academy of the Southern Heaven Immortal World is interested in? The white-robed middle-aged man only thought about those ladies for a moment before putting them aside. He didn't come here for the Purple Mansion Academy. He came here to test someone and grant him the token of revered elders. He touched his glabella and a divine star flashed. The white-robed middle-aged man turned into a white-robed scholar. There was no sword on his back, but there was a sword in his heart. His broken arm also turned into an illusion with his magic power. He recalled Ning Fan's back and fell into deep thought. This was his first time seeing Ning Fan. Even before this, he had already heard about Ning Fan's character. Rumor has it that Ning Fan was a murderous devil. Rumor has it that he slaughtered sects without mercy. Rumor has it that he was lustful and had thousands of women every day. The white-robed middle-aged man couldn't figure out how such a person could become a revered elder of the Rain Palace. Even if it was for that item, the divine sovereign's decision was a little hasty. However, after seeing Ning Fan with his own eyes, the white-robed middle-aged man suddenly had a feeling that rumors were not trustworthy. Most of the time, one could tell a person's character by looking at their back. This was because people could disguise their expressions, but they could not disguise the loneliness of their back. The white-robed middle-aged man realized that Ning Fan was just like him. They were both a little lonely and desolate. Zhou Ming, alias Yun Fan. Entering the Green Bamboo Palace just to get drunk. What an interesting kid. Yun Fan. Why does this name sound so familiar? The white-robed middle-aged man fell into silence. He had forgotten something very important that was even more important than his own life. He had even forgotten how infuriated he was when he killed the fourth prince of the Rain Palace. He had been searching for an answer for his entire life. White-robed sword god, Yun Tianjue. His back was as lonely as Ning Fan. Chapter 382. Inside the Green Bamboo Palace, there were hundreds of wine houses. Those who could sell spirit wine here were at least harmonious spirit old devils. Most of the vein-opening disciples could only set up simple stalls along the street to display their spirit wine for the passing cultivators to drink. The free tasting fees were recorded in the accounts and paid by the sect. The immortal jades used by the cultivators to buy the wine were collected by the disciples of the Green Bamboo Palace. This sect made spirit wine as a business. The purpose of this wine party was to select disciples who were good at winemaking and focus on training them. In order to earn immortal jades and gain the attention of the sect, every disciple of the Green Bamboo Palace tried their best to attract customers. Ning Fan walked along the bamboo street while smelling the fragrance of the wine. His murderous heart was at peace at this moment. The old monster said that women and wine were indispensable, and it was indeed true. Along the way, there were many female stalls with kind eyes and flirtatious glances, causing many male cultivators to stop in their tracks. Only Ning Fan remained calm and only smiled at the women who came and went. He would occasionally taste a cup, but he never bought or commented on the quality of the spirit wine. After drinking the wine, he turned around and left. Moreover, most of the spirit wines he drank were first grade, there were almost no second grade ones. Chao Kong, who was following behind him, complained incessantly. He followed Ning Fan in order to drink more second-grade spirit wine and use it to break through the bottleneck of intermediate harmonious spirit realm. He wanted to lead Ning Fan to the high-grade wine stalls, but Ning Fan seemed to know the way and went towards the low-grade wine stalls. In the end, he actually went to the first-grade wine section that specialized in first-grade spirit wines. Could it be that Ning Fan knew the way? No, this was the first time a vein opening junior came to the Green Bamboo Palace. How could he know the way? This is the first time this little friend Yun Fan came to the Green Bamboo Palace. Unless he can use his divine sense to scan the surroundings and understand the layout of the palace, there is no way he can recognize the way divine sense to scan the palace. This is simply too inconceivable. The moment this thought rose, it was immediately extinguished by Chao Kong. He only felt that his idea was too ridiculous. Using divine sense to scan the layout of the Green Bamboo Palace was unrealistic. Not to mention the fact that Ning Fan was a vein-opening junior without divine sense. Even if he had divine sense, there was a peak nascent realm sense isolation formation inside the palace. Unless it was a spirit-severing old ancestor, who else could use divine sense to scan the palace? Forget it. Since young friend Yun wants to drink some first-grade spirit wine, I'll accompany him for the time being. After all, he's the one paying for the wine. Chao Kong still had some good points. After receiving money, he would do things honestly. Chao Kong no longer cared about the grade of the spiritual wine. He simply followed behind Ning Fan. Whenever he saw a spiritual wine, he would take a cup and gulp it down like a cow chewing on a peony. Ning Fan did not pay attention to Chao Kong. His heart was immersed in the cups of wine, using the wine to calm his mind. Cup after cup of spirit wine entered his throat and transformed into a warm current that aroused traces of comprehension. When people were sad and in pain, they would drink to dilute their sorrow. When people were happy and celebrating, they would drink to raise the atmosphere. Why sadness can be diluted, and why joy is more engraved in my heart. Why are there people who can't get drunk even after 1,000 cups, but when they are sad, they get drunk after just 1 cup? Ning Fan pondered inwardly. All of his Tao comprehension flowed into the wine. Gradually, he realized that what Jiu Zhongyuan said made sense. Alcohol couldn't change a person's mood. What changed was the heart itself. Mortals could not handle alcohol and would get drunk. Cultivators had magic power to protect themselves. Why would they still get drunk? Looking at the cup of wine in his hand, Ning Fan's comprehension deepened. He realized that as he comprehended the Tao of wine, his divine intent began to improve. It was not a sublimation from great accomplishment to perfect accomplishment. Instead, it was a qualitative change. On the Star Island, he had initially combined the 3 intents of divine, demon, and devil into one. He drew the 7 apricot snow scenery in the sky and created the wind and snow technique. In the Lost World Tower, he had completely combined the 3 intents, allowing them to enter a primordial state. The 8th grade divine intent of rain, the 6th grade devil intent of mountain and the 1st grade Fuli demon intent. What was the brand new divine intent that was obtained after combining the 3 intents? And what grade was it? Ning Fan had no idea. However, the brand new divine intent was displayed in the 7 apricot snow scenery. It was just that its grade was above the 1st grade. Intents were divided into 9 grades. Demon General Li Ban's Carp Demon Intent was at the 9th grade, while the Fu Li Demon Intent and the Four Saints Demon Intent were at the 1st grade. What was the level of intents above the 1st grade? The cup of wine in his hand was like a primer, leading Ning Fan to have a series of comprehensions. Ning Fan realized that this wine must have something in common with his brand new divine intent. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to be absent-minded just because of a cup of wine. What exactly is my new divine intent? And what grade is it? What great Tao does this cup of wine contain? Why can it make me absent-minded? I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. Ning Fan picked up the 1st grade spiritual wine again and again and put it down again and again. When he passed by the stalls, he was disappointed again and again. No, it's not. This is not the wine that he wanted. These wines could not give him a thorough comprehension and could not allow his divine intent to advance again. Ning Fan's mind became more and more agitated. This was a sign that he had failed in his comprehension and the birth of his heart devil. In front of his eyes, waves of hatred and the past flashed. It was the humiliation that he suffered in Hai Ning of Wu country when he was still immortal. Why would these past events disturb my mind at this moment? Ning Fan's frown deepened. Chao Kong, who was following behind Ning Fan, was somewhat startled. Why did Yun Fan suddenly become so picky? Could it be that he is going to look for a 2nd grade spiritual wine instead of a 1st grade spiritual wine? Ning Fan frowned as if someone owed him immortal jades. While Chao Kong was pondering, he was interrupted by the sound of coughing blood in front of him. This wine. Cough. Ning Fan lifted the wine cup and took a sip. His face was filled with surprise. At the next moment, the past that had been bothering him turned into a mouthful of dirty blood and he coughed it out. This scene made Chao Kong jump in fright. Why did he cough blood when he was just drinking? Chao Kong walked closer to the stall and glanced at it with a cold gaze. The wine that made him cough blood was just a 1st grade spiritual wine. No, it was barely a 1st grade spiritual wine. The medicinal power of this wine was so thin that it was only slightly stronger than ordinary wine. No, it was just an ordinary wine with a slight medicinal taste. Little friend Yun is coughing blood. Could it be that this wine is poisonous? Or is it because the medicinal power of this wine is too strong that it hurt little friend Yun's immortal veins? It can't be. The taste of the wine is so faint that it doesn't have any medicinal power. Is it really poisonous? Chao Kong suspiciously picked up a cup of wine and smelled it. With a strange expression, he drank it all in one gulp and became even more puzzled. Strange, this wine tasted bad, but it didn't seem to be poisonous. Like water, it was so bland that it didn't even have the slightest bit of medicinal power. It was unable to raise his cultivation in the slightest. But it really wasn't poisonous. Chao Kong secretly pondered and couldn't find any reason to make Ning Fan's cough blood. He had accepted Ning Fan's money, so he couldn't be irresponsible for his safety. Is this wine brewed by you? Tell me, why did my friend vomit blood after drinking your wine? Chao Kang's eyes darkened as he glanced at the stall owner with a dignified expression. The stall owner was a young man with a cultivation of 3rd-level vein opening, pitifully weak. From Chao Kang's point of view, the most direct way to find out why Ning Fan vomited blood was to ask the stall owner. The other party was only a 3rd-level vein opening cultivator while Chao Kang was a harmonious spirit cultivator. In front of him, how could the young man dare to lie? Being questioned by Chao Kang, the young man's face turned pale. His brewing technique was indeed not good. This batch of wine was not even a 1st-grade wine, so it naturally wasn't a good wine. But even if it wasn't a good wine, at least the quality was not a problem. It was absolutely impossible for someone to vomit blood after drinking it. But after hearing Chao Kang's overbearing tone, the young man knew that if he didn't give Chao Kang a satisfactory answer, this matter would become big. Didn't you hear what Chao Kang said? The one vomiting blood was Chao Kang's friend. He was the friend of a harmonious spirit old monster. He, a vein-opening disciple, couldn't afford to offend him. Deacon Chao, This junior really doesn't know why this brother vomited blood, but this junior is willing to compensate. Good. Compensate. Take out the compensation and my friend won't pursue this matter anymore. Chao Kong turned around and saw that Ning Fan had already wiped away the blood and was deep in thought. Seeing that Ning Fan was fine, Chao Kong relaxed and didn't want to make this matter bigger. He was a disciple of the Green Bamboo Temple. If his sect's wine made someone vomit blood, he would have an excuse to reprimand and ask for compensation, but he didn't think it was necessary to do anything to this disciple. Yes. This junior is willing to compensate with 10 immortal jades. The young man was a bit scared. Chao Kong was a harmonious spirit expert and an outer deacon of the Green Bamboo Temple. He was in charge of these new disciples. The young man was afraid of offending Chao Kong, so in order to make amends, he was naturally willing to pay. But this amount of money was a bit too little. 10 immortal jades. Chao Kong laughed in anger. He already gave this young man a chance to apologize, but this young man was so untactful. His wine made Ning Fan vomit blood, but he only had to pay 10 immortal jades. Who was Ning Fan? Even if he was just a vein opening junior, he had a huge amount of immortal jades. He could casually give away 1,000 immortal jades, so why would he care about 10 immortal jades from this young man? 100 immortal jades. Chao Kang's tone was cold. No, impossible. 100 immortal jades is this junior's entire fortune. The young man begged for mercy. Humph. Chao Kang's heart was filled with anger. He didn't care anymore. He already gave this young man a chance, but this young man didn't have the sincerity to make amends. Accepting someone's money to eliminate a calamity, he had received a total of 1,000 immortal jades from Ning Fans. You, come here. You will pay the same amount of blood he vomited. Chao Kong rolled up his sleeves as if he was about to beat someone, scaring the young man silly. This scene made Ning Fan shake his head helplessly. This Chao Kong was a righteous person. He thought that he vomited blood was caused by this young man, so he wanted to help him. However, he was a dignified Ning Fan. Since when did he need a harmonious spirit junior to seek revenge from a vein-opening ant? Fellow Chao, don't be impatient. There is no problem with this wine. I vomited blood because of something else, it has nothing to do with him. Ning Fan flicked his sleeve to block. Chao Kong felt his fist soften and couldn't muster any strength, making him feel very strange. Little friend Yun, are you really alright? I am alright. This wine is not bad, I want all of it. How much is it? Ning Fan asked with a smile. Ugh, you still want to buy it. Aren't you afraid of vomiting blood again? Chao Kong said with a strange expression. I won't vomit blood again. That mouthful of blood was formed when I was young due to hatred. I only managed to vomit it out today. Thanks to this mouthful of blood, I finally understood why this wine could make me gain enlightenment, so that's why. With the help of this shallow cup of wine, Ning Fan actually gained great enlightenment. Brother Yun, this wine is brewed by me. It's worth a total of 200 immortal jade, but I don't dare to take your money. You are Senior Chao's friend. I will give this wine to you as a gift. The young man was too afraid of Chao Kong. He would never dare to take money from Ning Fan. Is that so? You don't want to take money, but I, Yun Fan, can't take your things for free. This wine is very good. It's the wine of my hometown. Your ancestor is a cultivator of Wu country, one of the 800 cultivation countries, right? Ning Fan asked with a smile. Yes, Brother Yun's ancestor is also a cultivator of Wu country. The young man was delighted, feeling as if he had met an old friend in a foreign land. Yes. The wine of Wu country is always unforgettable. There are memories and resentment. I thought I have forgotten the grudges of the past, but in the end, I realized that there are too many things in this world that can't be let go. That mouthful of blood is still in my heart. Until a moment ago, when I drank the wine you brewed, my mind became clear. Only then could I cough it out. Hatred is not that easy to let go. The wine cannot dilute the memories. What is forgotten is the human heart. Ning Fan's words stunned Chao Kang and the young man. Both of them were baffled. Ning Fan didn't explain much. He patted his storage pouch and took out a bottle of vein-opening Dan and gave it to the young man. You don't want immortal jades? Fine, I will give you the Dan. Your personality is too weak. You can't always endure being bullied by others. A cultivator should always have a straight spine in order to have the opportunity to seek the Tao. He left the pills behind and kept all the spiritual wine with a flick of his sleeve. Then, he left the place, leaving Chao Kang completely dumbfounded. Vein-opening Dan. It can't be wrong. Ning Fan gave the young man an entire bottle of vein-opening Dan. At least 20 of them. How much is this worth? At least 1,000 immortal jades. Buying a pile of useless mortal wine and spending 1,000 immortal jades was truly too extravagant. What a waste. Money shouldn't be used like this. Even if this little friend Yun has no concept of money, he should understand the preciousness of vein-opening Dan. Or could it be that this little friend Yun's cultivation is not strong, but his clan has a great background and is used to seeing vein-opening Dan, so he doesn't care about this? Could it be that there is a gold core in his clan? Chao Kang took a deep breath and looked at Ning Fan's back. He felt that his guess was correct. If he isn't a descendant of a gold core clan, how could he be so extravagant? Chao Kang looked at the young man with a complicated gaze and coldly said, "My friend is fine. Consider yourself lucky. You continue to set up your stall and do not mention what happened before to anyone. Yes, this junior won't speak carelessly." The young man held the bottle of vein-opening Dan and was so excited that his heart almost jumped out of his throat. Chao Kang coldly snorted and quickly chased after Ning Fan. Ning Fan finally left the first-grade spirit wine area, but before he could be happy, he saw Ning Fan enter the mortal wine area. This time, Ning Fan made up his mind to completely drink mortal wine. Chao Kang wanted to cry but no tears came out. He followed Ning Fan because he wanted to eat and drink well, not drink mortal wine. Little friend Yun, mortal wine doesn't taste good. I have a harmonious spirit friend in the Green Bamboo Palace who brewed an extremely delicious second-grade spirit wine. Why don't I bring you there to drink? If you like it, you can buy a few bottles for me. That will be even better. Don't worry, I have a good relationship with that person. It won't be hard to give him a discount. Chao Kang almost begged. No need, I think mortal wine is good. Sigh. Chao Kang sighed heavily. He thought to himself, Ning Fan definitely doesn't know anything about wine. Even an idiot would know that first and second grade spirit wine is better than mortal wine, but he insisted on drinking mortal wine. That's right, Ning Fan definitely doesn't know anything about wine. He just wants to drink for fun. Chao Kang really wanted to leave Ning Fan alone and take the yellow bamboo token to the second-grade wine area to drink to his heart's content. But when he thought that Ning Fan didn't know anything about wine, he was worried that Ning Fan would be deceived and spend a lot of money to buy mortal wine. Forget it, I will follow little friend Yun to prevent him from being deceived. Cough cough, it seems like I won't be able to drink a single second-grade spirit wine by staying by little friend Yun's side today. It was impossible for Chao Kang to know what Ning Fan was thinking. Ning Fan's mind was immersed in the wu wine brewed by that young man. He patted his storage pouch and took out a jar of wu wine. He drank it in one gulp with a heroic spirit. Good wine. Ning Fan praised. You have definitely never tasted a real good wine before, Chao Kang criticized in his mind. Chao Kang cared about the medicinal power of the wine, but Ning Fan cared about the principles of the wine. He used a mouthful of wu wine to suppress the resentment of the past and coughed out the blood clots. His mind became clear. The wu wine evoked my memories, so I coughed out the blood clots to suppress my heart's devil. Wine can dilute the sad memories and preserve the happy memories. Wine can make one forget and wine can add to the mood. The former is to forget, the latter is to not forget. Forgetting is to erase the memories. Not forgetting is to freeze the memories. There are 3,000 great Taos in the wine, and what I see in the wine is the Tao of memory between forgetting and not forgetting. Memory. My new divine intent must be the word, memory. Ning Fan finally understood why he could improve his divine intent because of wine. It was because he had fused 3 types of intent realm into one. The advanced intent realm was the word, memory. Memory was an intent realm that was completely different from the other intent realms such as the rain intent and the mountain intent. The rain and the mountain had a material form, but the memory was ethereal and formless. The 9th grade intent realm was the first step of intent realm. Then, the memory intent realm that Ning Fan created by fusing the 3 intents was the 2nd step of intent realm. It was even stronger than the Fu Li intent realm. It was the process of turning from material to void. Ning Fan secretly wondered if there was a 3rd step of divine intent in this world, turning from void to reality. Such a step was in line with the Tao of cultivation created by the immortal sovereign. The rain divine intent could control the weather. The mountain devil intent could imitate mountains. As for the memory intent, it could manipulate and change a cultivator's memories, causing a cultivator to lose his mind. In the ordinary wine area, Ning Fan walked past the stalls. The wines that he tasted were all ordinary wines which were looked down upon by other cultivators. However, to Ning Fan, these ordinary wines were incomparably precious. He drank them all in one gulp. Even though these wines were ordinary, they were enough to evoke Ning Fan's memories. Scenes of gratitude, hatred, and killing flashed in his mind. As the memories alternated, Ning Fan's memory intent realm improved step by step. From grand completion, it slowly moved towards grand completion. The memories that he cherished the most were the most ordinary times. The ones that he wanted to protect the most were his loved ones who had accompanied him from ordinary to the peak of the immortal Tao. Even though this wine is ordinary, it contains my memories. I was originally immortal. I cultivated to become an immortal because I was unwilling to be humiliated. I defied immortality to protect my loved ones. The rain divine intent, the mountain devil intent and the Fu Li demon intent are 3 completely different intent realms. The reason why I was able to fuse them was because of my memories. I used my memories of the 7 apricot city to draw that scene of windy snow and cold plum blossoms. In this memory, I forcefully fused the 3 types of intent realms together. The new intent realm after the fusion is the 2nd step of cultivation, the memory intent realm. Previously, I didn't understand why cultivators would get drunk if mortals get drunk. Now, I understand, when mortals get drunk, they get drunk on their bodies. When cultivators get drunk, they get drunk on their hearts. Magic power can protect the body but not the heart. If there is pain in the heart and you desire to get drunk, you will eventually get drunk. What is drunk? I used to ask myself and the answer I got was to die from wine or drunkenness. However, I still didn't understand what was dying. Now, I know that it's my heart that is dying. If the heart is dead, the wine won't intoxicate you but you will get drunk on your own. Ning Fan continued to drink. The first cup he drank showed that he was drunk and the next cup he drank was not drunk at all. He kept switching between being drunk and not drunk. His heart, on the other hand, was constantly choosing between forgetting or not forgetting in his memories. Love and hatred were 2 things that he could never forget. Other than these, he could forget everything else. Chao Kong was secretly surprised. At this moment, Ning Fan gave him an illusion that he could only look up to him. Ning Fan's body had an aura that only spirit-severing realm old monsters could see. This aura could infect Chao Kong. This aura was called the memory intent realm. Chao Kong stood beside Ning Fan. The memories of the past emerged in his mind like a tidal wave, making him unable to control himself. When he was young, he bid farewell to his parents. When he achieved success in the Tao, his parents passed away. Each of the past appeared in Chao Kang's mind, making him shed tears. All of a sudden, he just wanted to drown his sorrows with wine. Gradually, he began to taste the mortal wine. Gradually, he became a little drunk. Because his heart was in a mess, disturbed by the power of Ning Fan's memory. Chao Kang was even more shocked to find that his memory seemed to be changing, as if it was being tampered by someone. He had never heard of anyone who could tamper with memories. Soul searching and memory erasing was easy, but tampering with memories was difficult. What was memory? The word hui was samsara. The word I was memory. Memory was the memory that was preserved in samsara. Other than the heavenly Tao samsara, no one could tamper with it. Chao Kang secretly guessed that the strangeness in his body was caused by Ning Fan. For the first time, he began to doubt whether Ning Fan was at the vein opening realm or not. Little friend Yun, who exactly are you? Could it be that you are a Gold Core Realm senior? I don't think you are at the vein opening realm. Me, it's me. Ning Fan suddenly stopped walking. His eyes became clear and he kept the power of memory. At this moment, his memory intent realm was only one step away from breaking through. He did not continue to comprehend because there was a group of people in front of him, blocking his way. A large group of cultivators surrounded 14 women. 12 of them were maids and 2 of them were masters, but he could not see them clearly. Everyone, quickly leave the mortal wine area. No mistakes are allowed. Miss Tantai wants to drink here. 4 harmonious spirit old monsters strode forward, driving away the few cultivators in the mortal wine area. The 4 of them glanced at Ning Fan. When they saw that he was only at the vein opening realm, they didn't think much of him. Then, they looked at Chao Kang and 3 of them were startled. Only a middle-aged man sneered, as if he had an old grudge against Chao Kang. Chao Kang, an important guest has arrived. Why aren't you bringing your juniors out of this place? The man was called Gong Mao. He didn't get along well with Chao Kang, so his tone was extremely impolite. Chapter 383. Chao Kang, an esteemed guest has arrived. Why aren't you bringing your junior out of this place now? The man was called Gong Mao. He didn't get along well with Chao Kang, so his tone was extremely impolite. He didn't dare to provoke Chao Kang directly. He glanced at Ning Fan and thought that he was Chao Kang's junior. His expression turned gloomy. While he was scolding Chao Kang, he secretly shot out 3 sword lights from his finger at Ning Fan's dantian, trying to destroy a few of Ning Fan's immortal veins to teach Chao Kang a lesson. He didn't dare to kill Ning Fan in public, but destroying a few immortal veins. It's understandable for a senior to teach a junior a lesson, isn't it? Humph. Gong Mao. Who do you think you are? How dare you ask me to leave? How dare you? What are you doing? Chao Kang's eyes turned cold. Before he finished scolding, he saw Gong Mao sneaking an attack on Ning Fan and immediately became furious. Even though he guessed that Ning Fan was a gold core cultivator, he felt that it was ridiculous to say it out loud. He had hurt Gong Mao's junior because of a personal grudge. Today, Gong Mao sneaked an attack on Ning Fan. It was obvious that he had the intention to take revenge. It was fine if he wanted to take revenge on Chao Kang, but he wanted to take revenge on Ning Fan. How could Chao Kang endure this? Chao Kang swept his palm wind, trying to destroy the 3 sword lights. Ning Fan spent money to treat him to a drink. If he got Ning Fan injured instead, it wouldn't be right. There was a Tao in cultivation. However, when his palm was about to catch the sword light trembled and moved half a foot horizontally, bypassing his palm wind and piercing towards Ning Fan again. The deflection of the sword light was too strange. Even Chao Kang did not expect it at all. Sword of Turning Path. You actually learned the Spirit Realm sword technique, Sword of Turning Path. Not good. Chao Kang's expression changed when he saw that the sword chi was about to hit Ning Fan's dantian. Then, he was shocked. The sword chi was extremely fast, but Ning Fan was even faster. With a light flick of his sleeve, a gentle breeze swept up, and the 3 strands of spirit-grade sword chi were annihilated without a trace in the breeze, and they were collected by him. Hiss. Chao Kang took a cold breath. What kind of technique is this, to be able to sweep up a breeze and easily take away 3 spirit realm sword chi? Little friend Yun, what are you? Before Chao Kang could react, Ning Fan took a step forward and flicked his sleeve. 3 undamaged sword lights suddenly flew out from his sleeve. With a flash, it struck Gong Yu's dantian, shattering all 100 of his immortal meridians and crippling them. Puff! Gong Mao fell heavily to the ground, coughing blood incessantly. His cultivation had almost instantly dropped back to the first level of the vein opening realm. His eyes were filled with astonishment. It was clearly his sword chi that attacked Ning Fan. How could it be deflected by Ning Fan so casually? This was ridiculous. This method was too unimaginable. Chao Kang was even more astonished. Previously, he had guessed that Ning Fan's cultivation base was extraordinary. Now, the scene before him had clearly confirmed his speculation. Without a doubt, little friend Yun was an expert, but Chao Kang didn't know how strong he was. He was at least a harmonious spirit realm expert, and he might even be a gold core old monster that Chao Kang couldn't afford to offend. Unlike the two of them, the other harmonious spirit realm experts immediately exclaimed when they saw Gong Yu's dantian being destroyed. Not good. Deacon Gong's immortal meridian was destroyed. As soon as these cries of alarm rang out, an even more overbearing voice rang out from behind the crowd. It was filled with anger. Who dares to harm my Gong clan's people? Courting death. A ray of light shot over. It was a gold core old monster who attacked Ning Fan without asking for the reason. This person was an intermediate gold core elder of the Green Bamboo Palace, the clan master of the Gong clan, and Gong Mao's elder. Seeing Gong Mao coughing blood on the ground and his immortal meridian destroyed, this person was enraged and wanted to protect his own. When he saw that the person who attacked was Ning Fan and that Ning Fan's cultivation base was only at the vein opening realm, he patted his storage pouch without hesitation and took out a treasure seal, then attacked Ning Fan's head on. Elder Gong. This subordinate will report this matter in detail. This is absolutely not fellow Yun's fault. Chao Kang's heart was filled with fear. He wasn't afraid of Gong Mao, but he was afraid of Elder Gong. After all, Elder Gong was a gold core old monster. However, seeing that Elder Gong attacked Ning Fan's without asking for the reason, he subconsciously wanted to speak up for Ning Fan's. However, before he could carefully explain, Elder Gong's treasure seal had already arrived. I don't care whose fault it is. My Gong clan cannot be bullied by others. The Gong clan's style of doing things was domineering. If you are not domineering, why would others be afraid of you? As one of the major clans of the Green Bamboo Palace, Gong clan had the right to do whatever they wanted in Penglai Immortal Island. However, this time, they had chosen the wrong target to be domineering. No matter how domineering the Gong clan was, could they be more domineering than Ning Fan? That seal was called the Mountain and River Seal. It was a high-grade magical treasure. Elder Gong had used this seal to kill an early gold core old monster. Chao Kang was still guessing that Ning Fan was a gold core cultivator, but after thinking about it carefully. Even if Ning Fan was really a gold core cultivator, he would most likely be killed by Elder Gong's sneak attack. Get lost. Ning Fan snorted and casually flicked his sleeve. The soft and powerless sleeve blasted on the Mountain and River Seal. However, there was a rumbling sound of mountains and rivers collapsing, causing the eardrums of countless cultivators to bleed. Just one blow and the treasure seal was crushed into ashes. Then, Ning Fan swept his gaze towards Elder Gong. His gaze was like a real substance, immediately making Elder Gong feel as if a needle was pricking his back. What kind of domineering gaze was this? The owner of this gaze had always been the one bullying others. When had he ever been bullied by others? Elder Gong's face turned pale when he met Ning Fan's gaze. He felt an irresistible pressure pressing down on his body, as if thousands of mountains were pressing down on him, rendering him unable to move. He felt a sharp pain in his dantian, as if thousands of blades were being minced into pieces. In the next moment, his gold core suddenly crumbled. His body abruptly retreated and blood splattered everywhere as he fell to the ground in a sorry state. His cultivation had dropped to the early harmonious spirit realm in the blink of an eye. This was because Ning Fan was too lazy to kill. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to survive. Chao Kang was dumbfounded. What kind of person could destroy someone's gold core with just a gaze? A dignified gold core Elder Gong didn't even have the qualifications to stand beside Ning Fan. Could this little friend Yun Fan be a nascent soul old monster? Who dares to hurt people in my green bamboo palace? As the old saying goes, if you beat the young, the old will come. Just as Elder Gong was injured, a woman's cold voice resounded. The person who spoke was the great palace lord of the green bamboo palace, Ching Chu Chu. She had a slender figure, high breasts, and plump buttocks. She was an out-and-out beautiful woman. However, her expression was a little arrogant. Her beautiful eyes glanced at Gong Mao and Elder Gong who were coughing out blood on the ground. She gritted her teeth and her face turned cold. You did it. Who are you? How dare you behave atrociously in my green bamboo palace? How audacious! Without giving Ning Fan any chance to explain, the great palace lord flicked her wrist and a colorful ribbon shot out, entangling Ning Fan. She wouldn't be as reckless as Elder Gong. She wouldn't use a killing move the moment she attacked. After all, Ning Fan was able to destroy Elder Gong's gold core with just a gaze. He was at least a mid-nascent soul realm expert. Even Ching Chu Chu wouldn't be willing to offend such an expert in the past. However, the Green Bamboo Palace had lost a great deal of face in front of the distinguished guests today. No matter what, she had to capture Ning Fan first. Seeing that even the great palace lord had taken action, Chao Kang's heart screamed. Even if Ning Fan was a nascent soul realm cultivator, he couldn't afford to offend the great palace lord. The great palace lord was a late nascent soul realm cultivator. She was a top-notch expert even in the external endless sea. That colorful ribbon was a famous supreme-grade magic treasure, soft silk rope. It was refined from the natal spider silk of the wild beast snow spider. Moreover, this treasure still retained a trace of the treasure's spirit. Its magical effects were unparalleled. Ching Chu Chu had once used this treasure to restrain a late nascent soul realm cultivator and killed him. Chao Kang's heart skipped a beat. He thought to himself. Ning Fan is probably going to die. Even if Ning Fan is a nascent soul realm cultivator, it would be difficult for him to resist this soft silk rope. However, Ning Fan did not evade the binding of the soft silk rope. Instead, his eyes were filled with disdain. He raised his palm and pointed at the void space. The soft silk rope trembled and its spiritual nature was greatly damaged. Under the backlash, Ching Chu Chu could not stand steadily and her face turned pale. Her soft silk rope actually lost its effect. All of a sudden, Ning Fan pointed his finger again. The soft silk rope, which was Ching Chu Chu's natal treasure, actually showed a human-like fear. It strangely rolled back and bound Ching Chu Chu tightly. The soft silk rope betrayed me. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with disdain. He had the ancestral blood of the Fu Li clan. How could a mere wild beast treasure spirit dare to touch him? He took a step forward and appeared in front of Ching Chu Chu. He held her waist and slapped her buttocks for 12 times. Pa pa pa! This scene was like an adult punishing a child for being unreasonable. However, the one being punished was the lord of the Green Bamboo Palace who was extremely famous in the external endless sea. This scene was too unbearable to watch. Ning Fan did not kill Ching Chu Chu but punished her buttocks in front of everyone. This was worse than killing her. Countless cultivators were dumbfounded. Ching Chu Chu, a dignified late nascent soul realm cultivator, was easily captured by Ning Fan without any strength to fight back. Ning Fan's strength was a little terrifying. Divine Transformation Realm. At this moment, no matter how foolish Chao Kang was, he could vaguely guess that Ning Fan's true cultivation base was undoubtedly at the Divine Transformation Realm. Unless he was a Divine Transformation Realm cultivator, who else could take down a late nascent soul realm cultivator so easily? Even Chao Kong could guess it. Who else could not? When they thought of Ning Fan being a divine transformation realm old ancestor, countless cultivators broke out in cold sweat. A divine transformation realm old ancestor was an existence that even the Green Bamboo Palace could not afford to offend. However, they did not know what level of divine transformation realm Ning Fan was at. Who are you? Why? Why did you humiliate me like this? Please let me go. Ching Chu Chu was filled with fear. She fell into Ning Fan's arms and immediately lost all of her strength. Her magic power was sealed and she could only let Ning Fan slap her buttocks. She could not imagine that Ning Fan was actually a divine transformation realm old ancestor. She actually offended a divine transformation realm old monster for a gold core realm elder. Sister Chu Chu, don't be afraid. So what if he's a divine transformation realm cultivator? Don't you think it's too ungentlemanly to humiliate a girl in front of everyone? Let me help you vent your anger. A green-robed lady walked gracefully and calmly out of the crowd. Her beautiful eyes coldly swept across Ning Fan. Let go of her. Otherwise, you will pay the price. As soon as she finished speaking, she gave out her last warning. She emitted the terrifying aura force of a late divine transformation realm cultivator and a strong wind swept across 10,000 li. She patted her storage pouch and took out a green silk handkerchief. The handkerchief glowed with precious light. It was actually a late divine transformation realm spiritual treasure. Late divine transformation realm. Some of the knowledgeable nascent soul realm old monsters exclaimed in surprise. They recognized the cultivation base of the green-robed lady. Chao Kong was bewildered when he heard the voice. How could this be? Why would a late divine transformation realm old monster appear in the Green Bamboo Palace? All of them were legendary figures in the internal sea. Even if Ning Fan was a divine transformation realm expert, he would not be a match for a late divine transformation realm expert. Above the divine transformation realm, the difference between each level was like heaven and earth. It was extremely difficult to defeat a late divine transformation realm expert. Chao Kong was so scared that he wet his pants. Countless cultivators were so scared that they wet their pants, but Ning Fan was still wearing a cold smile. There's no end to it. Don't you guys ask for the reason when you do things? I, Zhou, have never been threatened by anyone in this world. I would like to see what kind of price you can make me pay if I don't let her go. Bu Mei's strong aura force spread out from his body. His baleful qi dyed half of the sky red and blood-red clouds covered the sky. At this moment, Ning Fan removed the sense-concealing art and revealed his true appearance. His appearance was the nightmare of all the cultivators in the Endless Sea. Currently, there was no one who did not know him in the external Endless Sea. Zhou Ming. Fellow Taoist Yun, you're actually. Venerated Ming. Chao Kong was at a loss of what to do. He actually drank and drank with the most ferocious devil lord of the external Endless Sea for half a day. He even despised Ning Fan throughout the journey. He's courting death. Countless cultivators' heartbeats quickened and they found it hard to breathe. They recognized Ning Fan's identity. They could not resist his terrifying aura force. He's courting death. He's courting death. If one doesn't court death, he won't die. How did the Green Bamboo Palace offend venerated Ming? This is going to be the end of the sect. The moment Ning Fan released his aura force, the green-robed lady's face was filled with shock. She never expected that a skinny young man would have such a terrifying cultivation base. Peak divine transformation realm. There's no mistaking it. This white-robed young man is a peak divine transformation realm expert. Moreover, his bone age is only 500 years old. The Rain World is just a lower world. Since when did such a powerful genius appear in the lower world? A peak divine transformation realm expert who is only 500 years old. Under the baleful qi that blotted out the sky, the green-robed lady's heart trembled. She actually began to retreat in fear. She could not imagine how many divine transformation realm cultivators Ning Fan had to kill to accumulate so much baleful qi. How could such a ferocious devil lord who kills without batting an eyelid exist in this world? Why didn't the immortal Emperor Zhang Tribulation kill him with a single heavenly tribulation? Trying to leave. Aren't you going to make me pay the price? Ning Fan took a step forward. His entire body turned invisible. At the next moment, he suddenly appeared behind the green-robed lady and pointed his plucking finger at her. The green-robed lady was almost defenseless and her back was attacked. Immediately, the force of the plucking finger spread to her entire body, causing her delicate body to turn limp and hot. Then, she fell into Ning Fan's arms. Even though he was hugging a beauty on his left and right, Ning Fan did not show any tenderness towards her at all. Not every woman could make him feel tender and protective towards her. Slap slap slap, more than 10 slaps came from the green-robed lady's perky buttocks, almost smashing her soft and tender buttocks. A numbing electric current, accompanied by pain and humiliation, spread through his body. All of a sudden, the green-robed lady almost died from embarrassment and anger. How dare you humiliate me? How dare you humiliate me like this? I. She was so embarrassed and angry that she did not know what to say. Shut up. While the green-robed lady was struggling, another calm reprimanding voice was heard. It was a blue-robed lady holding a paper umbrella. She had a pair of eyes that were as gentle as rain. Her fine black hair was swaying with the wind and she wore a blue headscarf on her head. She did not reveal any of her aura force, but it gave Ning Fan a heavy pressure. Young Master Zhou, please calm down. Sister Lu Zhu was insensible and attacked you without your permission. It was her fault. I wonder if you can give me a chance to apologize. If you don't mind, I'm willing to prepare some wine and apologize to you personally. At the same time, I have something to discuss with you. It's about your wife, Yin Suqiu. I believe you will be interested in it. The blue-robed lady's words were gentle, but her beautiful eyes were shining with wisdom. She was fully confident that Ning Fan would calm down after mentioning Yin Suqiu. After all, he did not want to kill anyone in the first place. Up until now, he had yet to kill anyone. About Suqiu? Who are you? Ning Fan loosened his hand and Qing Chu Chu and the green-robed lady were thrown out of his arms. They fell on the ground in a sorry state. Both of them had the same appearance. Both of them were nascent soul realm and divine transformation realm old monsters. However, their eyes were filled with tears and they looked very pitiful. They struggled to stand up, but their walking posture was very unnatural. Their buttocks were probably swollen after being hit by Ning Fan. I heard that you are a romantic and affectionate man. I didn't expect that you are also a man who doesn't know how to cherish women. You are willing to humiliate such beautiful ladies and throw them on the ground. Is your heart made of stone? The blue-robed lady's tone was very gentle. No one could tell whether she was happy or angry. You haven't answered my question. Who are you? If you can't give me a satisfactory answer, even if you are just a half-step void refinement realm clone, I can still make you suffer the same fate as these two ladies. Ning Fan raised his palm and his eyes turned cold. It was this hand that had slapped the two ladies' buttocks one after another. In other words, if the blue-robed lady's answer was not satisfactory, Ning Fan would also slap her buttocks. Lecture. The blue-robed lady's face turned red and she said softly. She rolled her eyes at Ning Fan. She was obviously angry, but she still looked so charming. I am one of the goddesses of the Purple Mansion Academy. My name is Tantai Weiyu. This is Weiyu's sister. Her name is Lu Zhu. Purple Mansion Academy. Ning Fan automatically ignored the names of the two ladies and only paid attention to the name. This Purple Mansion Academy seems to be the biggest force in the Southern Heaven Immortal world. It is one of the four major forces that are respected together with the Lost World Palace and the Godly Void Pavilion. Why are they looking for Yin Suqiu? Mind reading technique. Ning Fan secretly activated the secret technique. In an instant, he roughly understood the thoughts of the ladies. His face revealed a strange expression. They are actually looking for In Suchio for this kind of matter. If that's the case, I really have to help In Suchio plan something. Fellow Taoist Chao, wait for me here. After I am done with my daily affairs, I will taste the first grade and second grade spiritual wine with you. Ning Fan smiled. Chao Kong, however, felt that he could not afford to do so. His body trembled and he did not dare to look into Ning Fan's eyes. Scary. Scary. Little friend Yun Fan is actually venerated Ming, the ruthless man who killed divine transformation realm old ancestors like cutting vegetables. Is there anything crazier than this in this world? Ning Fan's words were obviously not to ask Chao Kong to wait for him. Instead, he wanted to express his relationship with Chao Kong. In this way, no one from the Green Bamboo Palace would hold Chao Kong responsible for what happened today. The Green Bamboo Palace must give Ning Fan face. No one would dare to hurt Chao Kong. This will not happen again. Ning Fan's cold gaze swept across Ching Chu Chu. The latter's face immediately turned pale. She did not dare to raise her head and apologized in a low voice. Please forgive me, venerated Ming. We didn't know that venerated Ming would come here. This time, we will certainly give venerated Ming a satisfactory answer. We will try our best to fulfill all of venerated Ming's requests. Even if it's something I can. I just hope that venerated Ming will not annihilate the entire Green Bamboo Palace. There's no need. Ning Fan shook his head. Do I look like a devil lord who annihilates an entire clan? I do look a little like him. What Ching Chu Chu meant was that she could kill Gong Mao and Elder Gong to satisfy Ning Fan's demands. As long as she can make Ning Fan happy or angry, she is even willing to. With Ning Fan's identity, he did not care about the life and death of Gong Mao and Elder Gong at all. As for Ching Chu Chu, he was not interested in her at the moment. Ning Fan took a step forward and walked towards the lady in blue robes. Currently, his greatest interest was on this Tantai Weiyu. This lady is not ordinary. She is very similar to Shimen Yi. Both of them came to the mortal world with their divine clones. Just a single divine clone has the strength of a half-step void refinement realm expert. Could it be that this lady's true body is also at the void fragmentation realm? After such a commotion, Ning Fan no longer had the mood to drink wine. Since he had already fully comprehended the memory intent realm and was not far from the grand perfection intent realm, it no longer mattered whether he drinks or not. Let's see what this Tantai Weiyu has to say. Did young master really defeat Shimen Yi? Tantai Weiyu walked side by side with Ning Fan. She did not look embarrassed at all. Her first sentence was already shocking. It's just his clone. Ning Fan was secretly surprised. This lady was a disciple of the Purple Mansion Academy. She belonged to the Southern Heaven while Shimen Yi belonged to the Northern Heaven. The news of Shimen Ye's defeat has actually spread so far and wide. Even the Southern Heaven goddess knows about it. If that's the case, young master can easily defeat Weiyu's clone even without using the yin-yang transformation's bewitching technique? I don't believe it. Tantai Weiyu's beautiful eyes revealed a hint of battle intent as if she wanted to ask Ning Fan for advice. At the next moment, however, she changed the topic. Young master also likes to drink mortal wine. Why do you say so? If I don't drink mortal wine, why did I come back to the mortal wine area? If it wasn't for that, Weiyu would have the chance to meet you. Since we have the same preferences, I wonder if young master is willing to get drunk with me. Tantai Weiyu gently shook her head. What she meant was that she also liked mortal wine. Get drunk with me. That won't do. My alcohol tolerance is the worst. Once I get drunk, it's highly possible for me to sully Miss Weiyu. Ning Fan intentionally said. Pa! Don't talk nonsense. Believe me. You won't dare to do that. Weiyu's eyes were covered with a faint mist and she smiled gently. She was perhaps the woman who was least afraid of Ning Fan in this world. Yin-yang transformation and bewitching technique? Ning Fan would not dare to use them on her. She had the confidence to do so. Ning Fan frowned inwardly. This lady is somewhat unusual. He secretly released his spirit sense, trying to find out more about this lady. At the next moment, a trace of Ning Fan's spirit sense was sucked into Tan Tai Weiyu's body by a mysterious suction force. Fortunately, it was just a trace of spirit sense. Otherwise, Ning Fan would probably suffer some injuries. Yang devouring physique. Ning Fan recognized Tan Tai Weiyu's physique. It was the physique that could restrain yin-yang devil veins the most. With the help of this physique, any man who touches Tan Tai Weiyu's body would be deprived of all their power. If Ning Fan does not want to lose little Ning Fan, it's best not to poke her with that thing. If he pokes this lady, humph, that little Ning Fan would probably be sucked away by her. Young master's knowledge is profound. I admire you. That's why I said that you won't dare to do anything to me, isn't it? Tan Tai Weiyu's eyes were still calm. She did not become the goddess of southern heaven for nothing. Chapter 384. In the elegant room of the bamboo house, a pot of wine was simmering on the stove. Ning Fan took a sip of the mortal wine. Even though it did not have any medicinal power, it was mellow and fragrant. It was indeed a good wine. There were 3 girls sitting opposite him. Apart from Tan Tai Weiyu, who had a calm expression as she carefully tasted the wine, the other 2 girls all had different expressions. At this moment, Qing Chu Chu was extremely afraid of Ning Fan. The reason why she came here to drink with him was just to appease his thunderous rage. What was Ning Fan's favorite thing to do? Sect annihilation. Qing Chu Chu did not want her sect to be destroyed just because she offended Ning Fan. She was afraid of Ning Fan, but there was a reckless girl who was glaring at Ning Fan as if she wanted to eat him alive. Miss Green Bead's eyes are really wide open, presumably the 2 words green bead refers to her green eyes. However, it's very strange. Your eyes are obviously black. Where did the green color come from? Ning Fan carefully tasted the wine and teased. Zhou Ming, don't go too far. Green Bead slammed her hand on the wooden table, her insides burning with anger, but she was stopped by a look from Tan Tai Weiyu. Little sister Green Bead, could it be that you've completely forgotten Master's teachings? Green Bead doesn't dare. Master said that we cultivators of the Violet Palace Academy should place the righteous path as our own thoughts. Even if the opponent is an extremely shameless devil, so long as it doesn't violate the laws of the heavens, then we shouldn't fight or kill the opponent. Even if the other party has violated the heavenly laws, our master will send down a heavenly tribulation to eliminate this evil person. There is no need for you to be so agitated. There was a hidden meaning in Tan Tai Weiyu's words. She was criticizing Ning Fan. As for Ning Fan, he secretly activated his mind-reading technique and saw through Tan Tai Weiyu's thoughts once again. Her master is a tribulation-controlling immortal emperor. Another sovereign immortal emperor. In that case, the blood lightning and silver flames I devoured were all sent down by the tribulation-wielding immortal emperor? If I ascend to the 4 heavens in the future and go to the southern heaven, I wonder if I will be able to ask the tribulation-controlling immortal emperor to refine the god-shattering whip. Tan Tai Weiyu probably did not expect that Ning Fan would actually have designs on her master even in her dreams. He had to admit that the mind-reading spell was indeed a good thing. From the beginning to the end, Ning Fan did not talk to them at all. Occasionally, he would use his mind-reading technique to see through their thoughts. This included the secrets of the Purple Mansion Academy, their purpose of descending to the lower domain, and In Suchio. Young master is really a cold-blooded person. Weiyu invited you for a drink, but you drank alone for 4 hours without asking about In Suchio. She's your woman, don't you care about her at all? Tan Tai Weiyu's tone was gentle but her words were sharp. It was obvious that she was attacking Ning Fan's Dao heart. Wasn't Ning Fan's Dao heart meant to protect his women? I already know about Suchio's matter. I even know that Miss Weiyu has violated herself 3 times in her life. Don't you think it's strange? Ning Fan teased her again. As soon as he said those words, Green Bead immediately scolded him in anger. Zhou Ming. You're too shameless. Sister Weiyu just scolded you a bit and you profaned her innocence. She is such a pure and self-loving person, she is different from us normal girls, how could she profane herself? Oh. Lady Green Bead's meaning is that an ordinary woman like you often blaspheme herself? You. Green Bead's face turned red. She had accidentally revealed a girl's greatest secret. Self-blasphemy. Self-blasphemy. Everyone has 7 emotions and 6 desires. Who did I offend by blasphemy? She really wanted to refute him. However, the more she refuted, the more confused she became. Thus, she simply sat at the side and ignored Ning Fan. Green Bead remained silent. Tantai Weiyu, on the other hand, blushed and was secretly shocked. Yes, she had cultivated for 1,700 years and reached the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. In her entire life, she had only violated herself 3 times. How could Ning Fan know about such a girl's secret? Yes, it's that secret technique, mind-reading technique. Tantai Weiyu gritted her teeth and said something that made Ning Fan frown. It really is the mind-reading technique. Rumor has it that among the cultivators of the Yin-Yang Devil Vein, only Great Emperor Ancient Chaos was able to comprehend the mind-reading technique. With just a glance, he could see through the thoughts of all the women in the world. Young Master Zhou's aptitude is really outstanding. I'm afraid that after Great Emperor Ancient Chaos fell, you are the second person to comprehend this technique. Weiyu really wants to know how you can do something that other cultivators of the Yin-Yang Devil Vein can't. Tantai Weiyu did not know about the existence of the Yin-Yang locket. Naturally, she would not know that other than Ning Fan who possessed the Yin-Yang locket, no one else could use the mind-reading technique. He was an orthodox cultivator. Even though his cultivation technique was a little shameless, he was an existence that countless cultivators of the Fiend God realm could not reach. Lady Weiyu seems to know a lot about my Yin-Yang Devil Vein. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. Other than Luoyu, no one else had such a good understanding of Ning Fan's technique. Tantai Weiyu was the second one, although her understanding was far inferior to Luoyu's. Young Master Zhou, haven't you heard of this saying? When one is born with an illness, there must be a medicine to cure it. When one is born with an innate yang, there must be a yin to counter it. What does young Master Zhou think Weiyu's yang-devouring physique is used for? Does it specialize in killing perverts in the world? Ning Fan felt a chill in his crotch. He was not sure if it was just an illusion. Young Master Zhou is really smart. This is the responsibility of my Tantai family. As a member of the righteous path, young Master Zhou mustn't fall into my hands. Otherwise. Tantai Weiyu pursed her lips and smiled. She was not afraid of all kinds of perverts. Whoever touches a single strand of her hair, would die. Your name is Weiyu, but you like to hold an umbrella on a sunny day. Is it also because you want to shelter yourself from the sun? It seems like the yang-devouring physique has a lot of drawbacks. It can even absorb sunlight. Lady Weiyu's life doesn't seem to be easy. Ning Fan took a sip of wine and revealed the secret of Tantai Weiyu's physique. After Ning Fan pointed out her sore spot, Tantai Weiyu's expression turned gloomy. However, it only lasted for a moment. No one else noticed it except Ning Fan. She no longer said anything. She covered her mouth with her sleeve and drank a cup of wine. Her face was slightly flushed. She was not supposed to be drunk. However, her mind was in a mess because of Ning Fan's words. Green Bead and Qing Chu did not know what Ning Fan and Weiyu were talking about at all. The mind-reading technique was a secret. It was a secret technique contained in the few devil physiques that the Tantai family paid close attention to. How could an outsider know about it? The yang-devouring physique was also a secret. Other than knowing that Tantai Weiyu could not get close to any man, Green Bead did not know much about her physique. Ning Fan could see through Wei Yu's physique not because he used the mind-reading technique but because he paid attention to the details. That was all. Since young Master Zhou has the mind-reading technique, aren't you concerned about Yin Suqiu? My Zifu Academy has taken a liking to her. If we grant her the ascension quota, she will certainly join our academy in the future. At that time, she will be a righteous cultivator while young Master Zhou will be a devil cultivator. I'm afraid you two won't be able to love each other for the rest of your life. The ascension quota. Lady Wei Yu must be joking. Whether Suqiu will be with me or not has nothing to do with the righteous and devil cultivators. It has something to do with my life and death. Ning Fan shook his head. If he did not discover such a huge matter with the mind-reading technique, he might not have let Green Bead and the other girls off so easily. Yin Suqiu was actually going to be granted the ascension quota. Moreover, the one who took a liking to her was the Zifu Academy, the #1 righteous sect in the Four Heavens immortal world. Perhaps, this was the most suitable path for Suqiu. Since she liked the righteous sect so much, Ning Fan did not want to interfere with Yin Suqiu's decision. Besides, Ning Fan did not think that Yin Suqiu must sever her relationship with him just because she joins a righteous sect. On the surface, Tantai Weiyu, Green Bead, and the other girls had higher aptitudes than Yin Suqiu. In reality, these two girls had yet to see through the difference between the righteous and devil cultivators. Yin Suqiu had seen through it. Before the cultivation methods of the divine race, demon race, and devil race were determined, there were no three races in the ancient times. The so-called righteous and devil cultivators were just imposed by the cultivators of the later generations. The difference between righteous and devil cultivators was just the difference between their cultivation methods. It was not the difference between good and evil. Even if Yin Suqiu joins the Zifu Academy and becomes one of the goddesses of the southern heaven, she would still be with Ning Fan if she had to. Moreover, Ning Fan believed that if he possesses the strength of an immortal emperor in the future, he would be a threat to the immortal emperor realm. If he were to stand outside the Zifu Academy casually, not only would the immortal emperor realm tribulation controlling immortal emperor not dare to chase him away, he might even welcome him with open arms to prevent him from destroying the Zifu Academy. Ning Fan had encountered too many cases of people changing from arrogance to deference. He had been killing, domineering, and ruthless throughout his journey. However, as long as his strength remained, no one would dare to provoke him. He did not believe in the righteous path nor did he believe in the devil path. He only believed in his own Tao. Be it the divine race, the demon race or the devil race, when he combined the three forces into one, his personality changed drastically. His ruthlessness was neutralized by his divinity. However, there was also a hint of treachery in his personality. From the trip to the Green Bamboo Palace this time, it could be seen that the current Ning Fan was no longer a person who only killed people. The three contradictory and extreme personalities had already merged together. This was the reason why Tantai Weiyu could not see through Ning Fan the most. His words were obviously frivolous but his eyes were clear and upright. From the beginning to the end, he did not have a single trace of profanity towards the beauty. His baleful chi was obviously terrifying but he had a sense of propriety. Killing or not killing only took a single thought. He was not affected by his killing intent at all. This person was obviously overbearing and conceited but he was cunning and quick-witted. Although his scheming and wisdom could not be said to be unparalleled, it was already the best choice. When all the contradictions merged together, Tantai Weiyu, a dignified void fragmentation realm cultivator, actually could not see through Ning Fan. Moreover, she almost agreed with Ning Fan's words. She felt that Ning Fan was right. Yin Suqiu would not abandon Ning Fan because of the righteous and devil ideologies. If there is a reason in this world that would make Yin Suqiu forget Ning Fan, there would only be one reason: one of them had died. And the one who died would certainly not be Ning Fan but Yin Suqiu. This woman was extremely stubborn. When this stubbornness is applied to love, it would be the kind of devotion that she would never let go of even if she dies. Unless she, Yin Suqiu, dies, otherwise, she would never abandon Ning Fan. Never. Young Master Zhou, I can't see through you. Aren't you worried about younger sister Suchio's ascension? With her aptitude, the divine transformation realm is just a matter of time. If she succeeds, she will. She will ascend. I didn't expect that among all of my women, Suchio would be the first one to ascend. Her future is bright. This is very good. This shows that I have a good eye for women. Ning Fan said in an almost conceited manner. He was rarely conceited. However, when his woman was praised by others, he would feel happy. He would feel even happier than when his own woman was praised. He was just like a foolish father and mother who would feel happy for half a day when their child is praised for being smart and obedient. After all, Ning Fan was just an ordinary person. There are only two things that I'm worried about. Firstly, this foolish woman is afraid that I will be angry and refuse to ascend. As soon as Ning Fan said the first point, Green Bead immediately sneered. Impossible. The quota for ascension within 4 days is extremely precious. It's impossible for that Yin Suchio to refuse the quota just because of her love. You don't understand her. Ning Fan was too lazy to care about Green Bead. What's the second point? Tan Tai Weiyu asked with a faint smile. The second point. Fortunately, I restrained my desire in the past and did not take her. I heard that the requirements for female cultivators to ascend to the Purple Mansion Academy are extremely strict. If they don't have a formal relationship with their Dao companion, they are not allowed to lose their virginity. Otherwise, they will lose their chastity. If they have a Dao companion, that Dao companion must be qualified to be a cultivator of the righteous path. I don't think I'm a cultivator of the righteous path. Fortunately, I don't have a formal relationship with Yin Suchio and I haven't broken her chastity. Thus, I'm not afraid of affecting her ascension. Pfft, Tan Tai Weiyu actually laughed. She laughed. One had to admit that her laughing points were very strange. Actually, there was nothing wrong with her laughing. From her point of view, the problem that Ning Fan was worried about must be extremely serious. For example, the safety of the ascension. In the end, Ning Fan was worried about whether he had broken Yin Suchio's chastity or not. What's in this man's head? Is it a daddy? Farewell. While Tan Tai Weiyu was laughing, Ning Fan did not look at her and stood up abruptly. He did not ask about the details of Yin Suchio's ascension. The ascension formation and the passage were mostly related to the secrets of the Purple Mansion Academy. Even Tan Tai Weiyu might not know about it. Besides, Ning Fan believed that he did not have any enemies in the Southern Heaven immortal world. It would be very safe for Yin Suchio to ascend to the Southern Heaven. It would also be very safe for her to join the Purple Mansion Academy. Even though it was rumored that the cultivators of the Purple Mansion Academy were very inflexible, none of them had ever done anything against the law. Being a bookworm had its own benefits. Besides, Ning Fan also believed that Yin Suchio was no longer an ordinary woman who was entangled in the righteous path and the devil path after going through all kinds of changes. Her horizons should have already been opened. Ning Fan had this confidence in his own woman. If he did not believe in his own woman, he would not be Ning Fan. After saying goodbye, Ning Fan left in a natural and unrestrained manner. Even Qing Chu Chu, who was frightened, and Green Bead, who felt wronged, could not help but praise him from the bottom of her heart. Ning Fan indeed had an extraordinary demeanor. This demeanor had nothing to do with his appearance. It was just a kind of attitude that would not change even in the face of danger. Especially the trust in each other's eyes. Perhaps it would have an inner devil level of lethality to every woman who longed for a sincere exchange. Wait. Doesn't young Master Zhou want to compete with me? Tan Tai Weiyu suddenly stood up and said indifferently. Compete? How? Ning Fan's eyes flashed with surprise. He did not notice that this woman was so competitive. Before the competition, young Master has yet to taste this wine. I can see that young Master is also fond of mortal wine. I suppose you must have some special opinions about mortal wine. I want to hear it. If young Master is willing to tell me, I will be very grateful. May I ask what young master thinks about wine? Tan Tai Weiyu asked an irrelevant question again. This woman's train of thought was jumpy. The word wine refers to the water of the hour of Wu. Wu is the 10th of the earthly branches. It is the west, the season when rice is fully ripe. Water brewed from grains is called wine. Ning Fan gave a perfunctory answer. These are the words from the scriptures. I want to hear young master's thoughts. The thing that intoxicates people is wine. Beauties, wealth, fame and fortune in the world. As long as it can intoxicate people, which of them isn't wine? Ning Fan said seriously. What a good, the thing that intoxicates people is wine. In that case, young Master Zhou has countless beauties and all of them are delicious wine. Ning Fan did not comment on Tan Tai Weiyu's words. May I ask young master, what is drunkenness? Dying from wine is drunkenness. Being born from wine is sobriety. Between sobriety and drunkenness, there is the meaning of life and death. I suppose the reason why Miss Weiyu is obsessed with wine is to use it to comprehend the two meanings of life and death. As soon as Ning Fan said that, his answer immediately shocked the three ladies. As the palace lord of the Green Bamboo Palace, Qing Chu Chu had been brewing wine all her life. However, she had never heard such a profound theory that pointed directly to the origin. As one of the outstanding geniuses of the Purple Mansion Academy, Green Bead paid great attention to the comprehension and cultivation of the academy. As the name suggested, the cultivation method of an academy was to focus on the academy and improve one's cultivation level by comprehending the heavenly Tao. In such an atmosphere, disciples would often spar with each other in the Purple Mansion Academy. However, it was rare for them to spar with their magic power. Most of them would spar with their Tao comprehension. Tao comprehension was either through debates or through mediums such as zither, chess, calligraphy and painting. Sometimes, they would directly compete with their divine intent. After all, the intent realm usually pointed directly to one's heart. The stronger the Tao comprehension of a cultivator, the stronger the power of their divine intent would be. Even in such an atmosphere, Green Bead had never seen any handsome young man say something as profound as Ning Fan. Even some of the older generations did not have such a profound Tao comprehension like Ning Fan. This had nothing to do with aptitude. It was only related to one's comprehension ability. Green Bead did not know how good Ning Fan's aptitude was, but his comprehension ability was probably extremely high. Tan Tai Weiyu's face blushed. She had to admit that her shyness was also very strange. Did Ning Fan say something embarrassing? Did he make me blush? She was naturally surprised by Ning Fan's comprehension ability. Not only did Ning Fan answer her question perfectly, but he also explained the true meaning of waking up on top of being drunk. Moreover, he even pointed out the existence of the great Tao of life and death in the process of waking up. There were 3,000 great Tao in the wine. What Ning Fan saw was the memories of samsara, while what Tan Tai Weiyu saw was life and death. He actually saw through my Tao. Tan Tai Weiyu's heart trembled. She had never had such a feeling before. She had such an amazing feeling towards a man. Thank you for your guidance, young master. If Weiyu can comprehend the Tao of life and death, I will certainly thank you generously in the future. Tan Tai Weiyu stood up with a serious expression and bowed to Ning Fan. I haven't finished speaking, there's more. Weiyu asked in surprise. Not only does the wine contain the Tao of life and death, but also the Tao of true and false. True and false. True and false. The so-called living in a drunken dream is not really being drunk. Instead, you are awake but you seem to be drunk. This word, like, is specious but it's not. It is the meaning of true and false. If Miss Weiyu can comprehend life and death, then you can comprehend true and false. Then, it won't be difficult for you to advance to the true immortal realm one day. True and false. Tan Tai Weiyu was deeply impressed. If the person who guided her was an immortal emperor, she would accept it. However, the person who guided her was just a divine transformation realm cultivator. This divine transformation realm cultivator, however, had such a high level of comprehension that few could compare to. Comprehension was not aptitude or intelligence. Instead, it was a person's comprehension towards the great Tao. It was related to one's temperament. After all, the heavenly Tao had always been directed towards one's heart. Perhaps Ning Fan's greatest asset was not the yin-yang transformation but his heaven-defying comprehension. He was not smart. He was very ordinary. However, it was because he was ordinary that he was close to the great Tao, because the great Tao was mortal. Tantai Weiyu did not know what to say anymore. If she advances to the true immortal realm one day, what she should be most grateful for today was definitely Ning Fan's guidance. She pondered for a while and seemed to have made up her mind to take out something to give to Ning Fan to express her gratitude. However, before she could take out that item, Ning Fan spoke again. Other than the meaning of true and false in the wine, there are also more profound principles. Do you still want to hear it? Yes. If young master is willing to teach me, Weiyu is willing to repay you. If younger sister Suchio ascends to the academy in the future and someone neglects her, Weiyu will certainly help young master to protect her. Weiyu said sincerely. Ning Fan nodded his head. Obviously, he was very satisfied with Weiyu's promise. His eyes turned cold and he continued. Above life and death, I saw the truth and false. Above the truth and false, I saw karma. Drunkenness is the fruit of drinking and drinking is the cause of drunkenness. Not getting drunk is the fruit of not drinking and not drinking is the cause of not getting drunk. Karma in the world is generally like this. However, not every time a person drinks, they will get drunk and not every cause can be cultivated into an effect. Looking back 500 years in my previous life may not be able to get his pity. Turning into a stone bridge and standing for 1,000 years may not be able to wait for his arrival. If Miss Weiyu can comprehend karma one day, it won't be surprising if she becomes an immortal emperor. Karma. Looking back 500 years in the future, I still can't get his pity. Tantai Weiyu suddenly felt a pain in her heart. She seemed to have some sad past. Honestly, if there is no story behind it, why would a woman love to drink wine? Above karma, guess what I saw? Ning Fan sighed softly. At first, he did not want to give her any advice. However, when he saw Tantai Weiyu's puzzled expression, his heart suddenly felt empty. Then, he tried to divert her attention and dispel her sadness with his words. Above karma, what else could there be? Weiyu suddenly asked. She could no longer understand the profound truth. Drinking is the cause of being drunk, the cause of being drunk is the cause of being drunk, the cause of being drunk is the cause of being dreaming, the cause of waking up is the cause of drinking again. If it is reversed, it will be the effect. When you can see the karma clearly, it means that you have comprehended it. When you can't see the karma clearly and you can't tell which is whose cause, you will have comprehended it completely. Above karma is samsara. Everything in the world is in samsara. None of them can escape from it. I am not your cause and you are not my effect. Some feelings can't be explained clearly even in a lifetime. Everything is just like the righteous and the evil. As soon as Ning Fan finished speaking, he cupped his fists and walked out of the bamboo house. He could see through Tantai Weiyu's thoughts. He even knew what she wanted to give him. It was a cultivation method. It was a fiend god cultivation method named Repent of the Ocean of Desire. The effect of this cultivation method was to nourish a man's primordial yang. In order to avoid harming one's foundation by plucking too many women, it could gradually replenish the man's primordial yang after abolishing the dual cultivation method. Yes, abolish it. In order to cultivate this cultivation method, one must abolish the yin-yang transformation. This cultivation method was a secret technique of the Tantai family. They couldn't just give it to an outsider. If Ning Fan accepted Weiyu's cultivation method, she would be punished by the family because of it. The reason why Wei Yu took out this cultivation method was because she hoped that Ning Fan would abolish the evil cultivation method and return to the righteous path. Ning Fan's last sentence, "Everything is just like the righteous and evil," was a reminder to Wei Yu. There was no difference between the righteous and evil cultivation methods in the first place. Why should she be so stubborn? It wasn't the yin-yang transformation that was wrong. It was the user. As long as Ning Fan had a clear conscience, he could cultivate the yin-yang transformation and pluck the women in the world. Tantai Weiyu had good intentions, but Ning Fan would never accept it. He saw through everything. Weiyu smiled bitterly. She put the cultivation method back into her storage pouch and sighed inwardly. If Ning Fan turned back now, she might be able to help him enter the righteous path and exchange it for a bright future. However, she didn't know why she felt pity for Ning Fan. It was the first time she was subdued by a man. "Will we meet again?" She sighed faintly. A feeling of emptiness that she had never felt before filled her body and mind. Tantai Weiyu actually sighed for a man. This was too abnormal. If this news were to spread, it would probably be more shocking than Ning Fan defeating Shi Minyi. In the Green Bamboo Palace, Ning Fan left some pills for Chao Kong and left. He had only met this person once. From today onwards, this was the end of their fate. He took a step forward and left the Green Bamboo Palace. In the next step, he appeared on an empty sea surface. Ning Fan looked at the empty sea surface and remained silent. He stood there for 3 days and 3 nights. After 3 days, a white-robed scholar finally appeared on the empty sea surface. His expression was cold and he didn't smile. However, he praised Ning Fan. "Your comprehension ability is very high. Your willpower isn't bad either." When this person praised Ning Fan's comprehension ability, he naturally heard Ning Fan's Tao enlightenment from the beginning to the end. He praised Ning Fan's willpower because Ning Fan didn't say a single word in the past 3 days until the scholar appeared. "Senior, who are you?" "Yun." That person only said one word, but it immediately made Ning Fan's expression change. He couldn't see through this person's cultivation base. The pressure that this person gave him was comparable to Moksha Sovereign. The word "Yun" immediately reminded Ning Fan of the Jade invitation card he obtained when he left the Lost World Tower. "If you pass my test, you will receive the Elder's Order." Yun. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. This white-robed scholar was actually a void fragmentation realm old monster from the Rain Palace who came to test him. Almost a moment later, Ning Fan shook his cauldron ring and took out an ancient storage pouch. That storage pouch had been abandoned in the corner of the 1 million space of the cauldron ring for a very long time. That storage pouch contained Ning Fan's greatest trump cards so far, the Rogue Devil. Ning Fan once guessed that if he breaks through to the peak divine transformation realm, he could barely control the Rogue Devil with various methods. However, to be honest, he wasn't completely confident that a peak divine transformation realm expert could control the Rogue Devil. Opening the storage pouch at the peak divine transformation realm was actually a gamble. If he succeeds in controlling the Rogue Devil, he would have the strength to travel unhindered in the Rain World. If he fails in controlling the Rogue Devil, he would die here and his Tao would vanish. Unless there was an opportunity that could move his heart, he wouldn't take the gamble. Facing the white-robed scholar, Ning Fan had no choice but to take the gamble. If this person harbors ill intentions towards him, he would open the storage pouch and release the Rogue Devil to fight against him. Even if he dies, he would perish together with the enemy. There seems to be something extraordinary in that storage pouch of yours. The white-robed scholar nodded and then shook his head. "If I wanted to kill you, you would already be dead. 5 days ago, I came to the Lost World Tower and left behind the Jade invitation card. You should know what it means." The white-robed scholar's words were self-evident. 5 days ago, Ning Fan was still unconscious and needed Bei Xiaomun's care. At that time, Ning Fan didn't have any means to protect himself. If the white-robed scholar wanted to, he could easily kill him. Since he did not kill Ning Fan, he wouldn't kill him. Ning Fan understood that. After keeping the rogue devil's storage pouch, Ning Fan looked at the white-robed scholar indifferently and cupped his fists. Senior, how do you want to test me? Do you know a lot about wine? I know a thing or two. Ning Fan was neither humble nor arrogant. After listening to your long talk just now, you indeed know quite a lot. However, I don't like to talk nonsense. Whether you know wine or not, I only look at one standard, and that is, how much you can drink. Yun Tianjue patted his storage pouch. A ray of sword light shot out and turned into a sword boat. He landed on the boat and raised the sail. Then, he patted his storage pouch again, and the spiritual wine inside was piled up like a mountain. All of them were from the Green Bamboo Palace. While Ning Fan was talking to Wei Yu, this person had actually emptied the wine cellar of the Green Bamboo Palace. Drink with me. Can I understand this as a test for me, senior? Whatever you think. Ning Fan landed on the sword boat. Yun Tianjue also sat cross-legged and started drinking with each other. Both of them were silent as if they did not have any common topic. However, when the two of them sat and drank with each other, they did not feel out of place at all. Yun Tianjue's frown deepened. He could not understand why he would drink with an unfamiliar junior with his unsociable personality. However, he did not reject this kind of feeling. If you get drunk, you will fail the test. Yun Tianjue said coldly. I won't get drunk. Ning Fan smiled confidently. His smile stunned Yun Tianjue. He felt like he had seen this smile on a woman's face before. It was very familiar but also very strange at the same time. Who is it? Chapter 385. 10 days later, tens of thousands of jars of first and second grade spirit wine were drunk by the two of them. Another 10 days later, nearly 1,000 jars of third and fourth grade spirit wine were left empty. During the last 10 days, Ning Fan and Yun Tianjue each had 100 jars of fifth grade spiritual wine. They just drank without saying a word to each other. For an entire month, the two of them had not exchanged a single word with each other. The atmosphere was really strange. Ning Fan pondered inwardly. He had drunk so much spiritual wine, but it seemed like it still did not satisfy the other party. It seemed that this so-called test was not going to be easy to pass. A month had passed. It had been a month since Bei Xiaoman had woken up. He wondered if Bei Xiaoman would be worried if she didn't see him when she woke up. As he drank the grade 5 spiritual wine, he shot out a sound-transmitting flying sword towards the direction of Peng Lai, as if he was trying to reassure Bei Xiaoman. However, as soon as he was distracted, the effect of the alcohol immediately messed up his mind. His eyes turned hot and revealed a hint of drunkenness. The reason why he wasn't drunk after drinking so much spiritual wine was because he was able to keep his heart calm. If one's heart was distracted, the wine would not intoxicate them, but they would become intoxicated. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold and his mind became solemn. He dispelled his drunkenness and thought to himself that it was a close call. He was almost drunk. Yun Tianjue, who was sitting opposite Ning Fan, put down his wine jar. His eyes were filled with displeasure. Your heart is in chaos. Is that sound-transmitting flying sword meant for a woman? As sword cultivators, our hearts should be tied to the sword and not be tainted by lust. If the heart is not pure, if the Tao is not firm, it will be difficult to achieve the sword Tao. So what if it's difficult to master the sword Tao? If the way of the sword is cultivated to the end and there is only one person and one sword left, what joy is there in that? Ning Fan shook his head slightly. Perhaps it was this senior's Tao of sword, but it was not his own Tao of sword. His sword Tao was not obsessed with the sword. Instead, he only wanted to use the 3-foot-long sword to protect his loved ones in peace and happiness. He did not care if he failed to achieve the Tao. One man and one sword, what's there to be happy about? You're right, I'm looking for someone. Yun Tianjue frowned. He clenched his fist and crushed the wine jar. As if Ning Fan had hit the nail on the head, he also looked slightly drunk. When Ning Fan saw this scene, he was inwardly surprised. He had thought that this senior was just a sword cultivator who was obsessed with the sword, but now it seemed that this was not the case. This person's sword intent was very strong. In terms of sword intent alone, Ning Fan had never seen anyone whose sword intent was stronger than his. Even the Sword Emperor's secret sword paled in comparison to this person. This person was not a cultivator from the sword world, but he was even stronger than the sword world's divine emperor. There was no mistaking it. This sword intent was the emotionless sword, and it did not tolerate any emotions. This person was definitely a cold-blooded and emotionless person. However, this person's drunken expression clearly showed that deep in his heart, there was love. Ning Fan's eyes turned solemn. In the Rain world, there were only a few void fragmentation realm experts who could be counted with one's fingers. This person's Tao of sword was divine. His identity was self-evident, white-robed sword god, Yun Tianjue. Are you also looking for someone, senior? I'm also looking for someone. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold and his tone changed. He recalled old ancestor Dong Su's divination. If he wanted to find his mother's whereabouts, he needed to find Yun Tianjue. Previously, when Ning Fan heard that Yun Tianjue was ruthless and cold-blooded, he had some concerns in his heart. Thus, he did not rashly go and look for him. Now that this person had delivered himself to his doorstep, he could use an indirect approach to see if he could find out about Ning Qian's whereabouts. Are you also looking for someone? Looking at your lonely back, I suppose you haven't found the person you're looking for, right? Yun Tianjue was a talkative person. However, he no longer kept quiet in front of Ning Fan. That's right. I'm looking for a woman. Her name is Ning Qian. When Ning Fan uttered this name, he carefully observed Yun Tianjue's expression. When this woman's name fell into Yun Tianjue's ears, his expression turned blank for a moment. Then, he became confused. Ning Qian. Senior, you know her. Ning Fan was secretly delighted. If it was so easy for him to find his mother, he could easily let her live a peaceful life with his strength and status. No. I don't know her. I just feel that this name is very familiar. Yun Tianjue shook his head. He felt annoyed but he did not know why. Familiar? Ning Fan's eyes turned cold and his tone carried a questioning tone. This ambiguous answer made him very dissatisfied. Does it mean that I know her? However, judging from Yun Tianjue's expression, he obviously did not remember who Ning Qian was, as if he had never seen her before. In Yun Ruowei's dream, Yun Ruowei, Ning Qian and Yun Tianjue had once appeared in Lanrua Temple together. They should have met each other before. Could it be that Yun Tianjue's relationship with Ning Qian is too shallow and they have never met since that day? That's why he does not remember Ning Qian anymore. Are you dissatisfied with my words? Yun Tianjue's eyes suddenly turned cold. With his personality, if someone else dares to speak coldly to him, he would have already killed that person with his sword. Ning Fan was just a divine transformation realm cultivator. How dare he question him in such a cold manner? Even though Yun Tianjue was displeased, he was still reluctant to kill Ning Fan. With your intelligence, you should have already guessed my identity. I advise you not to provoke me. Yun Tianjue said coldly. How would I dare? Ning Fan withdrew his expression. If it wasn't for Ning Qian's whereabouts and the order to respect the elders, he would never be willing to drink with this temperamental void fragmentation realm old monster. The two of them fell into silence again. A few days later, all of the 5th grade spiritual wine was finished. Yun Tianjue drank all of the spiritual wine and remained silent. His left hand was originally broken. Now, he was holding the wine jar with his illusory left hand while staring blankly into space. Senior, did you pass my test? Ning Fan rose to his feet and cupped his fists. He had already drunk all of the spiritual wine, but he was not drunk. It was unknown whether he had passed the test or not. This is not a test. Yun Tianjue removed his concealment and returned to his original appearance. His illusory left arm disappeared and his long sleeve became empty again. His long hair was messy and his eyes were filled with vicissitudes of life. The huge sword on his back was filled with dense sword qi. It's not a test. Ning Fan frowned. If it wasn't a test, it would be a complete waste of time for him to spend 1 month drinking wine here. Did he have a lot of time? No. It was very little. Even though drinking so much spiritual wine had increased his magic power by 1,000 units, this speed of improvement was still too slow for Ning Fan. Farewell. If Senior decides to test me, you can come and find me again. Ning Fan flicked his sleeves and was actually about to leave. Yun Tianjue's eyes flashed with surprise. He realized that this divine transformation realm junior in front of him was actually not afraid of him. The white-robed sword god had turned into a devil with his sword. With a sword in his hand, hundreds of countries would move. Even the Rain Sovereign would feel a little uneasy when he sees Yun Tianjue. Ning Fan, however, was actually dissatisfied with him and even spoke to him coldly. He was really an interesting young man. You don't like drinking wine with me? I'm afraid of death. Ning Fan gave Yun Tianjue a sidelong glance. This person could even kill his fourth brother. He was temperamental. Since he could not get Ning Qian's whereabouts from him, it would only be dangerous for him to stay with him. I won't kill you. It's just that sometimes, I also want to find someone to drink with. Why don't you try this wine and see how it tastes? Yun Tianjue suddenly stood up. His face was as cold as ice. No one could tell whether he was happy or angry. He took out a dark red wine gourd. It was as clear as crystal. One could see that it was filled with blood-red wine. That gourd, on the other hand, emitted a vast aura force of magic treasure. It was a mortal void treasure and it was even a mid-grade mortal void treasure. As for the wine in the gourd, it gave off a hint of wine fragrance. Ning Fan's spirit was lifted and his eyes were filled with joy. Just by smelling a hint of the wine fragrance, his magic power had increased by 1 unit. What kind of wine is this? Even though it's not a test, I, Yun Tianjue, will not take up 1 month of your time for nothing. There is still half a gourd of wine left. You can drink 3 mouthfuls. If you drink more than that, you will die. 3 mouthfuls. Ning Fan's eyes burned with passion. The power of this wine was not any weaker than that of the time crystal. A hint of its scent could increase 1 unit of magic power. It was highly possible that a single mouthful of wine could increase 1,000 units of magic power. 3 mouthfuls of wine could increase Ning Fan's magic power by at least 20,000 units. If he could obtain this 20,000 units of magic power for free, it would not be a loss for him to accompany Yun Tianjue for a month. Senior, are you serious? Ning Fan still found it a little hard to believe that the cold and bloodthirsty Yun Tianjue would grant him a chance. I don't like to talk nonsense. Yun Tianjue did not say anything. He placed one of his hands behind his back and stood at the bow of the ship. However, he was looking at the sunrise by the seaside with an expressionless face. Thank you, Senior, for your generous gift. Ning Fan did not stand on ceremony. His impression of Yun Tianjue could not help but change. This person was eccentric, taciturn and temperamental. However, he could clearly distinguish between kindness and hatred. Even if this kind of person was a little cold, he would not kill his brothers for no reason. Perhaps there was an inside story behind why he killed the 4th prince of the Rain Palace. Ning Fan pulled out the stopper of the gourd and the wine rushed into his body. He was almost drunk. It was enough to show how strong this wine was. Compared to this wine, the 5th grade spiritual wine was just trash. Even the mortal void spiritual wine might not necessarily be comparable to it. This was the immortal void wine. Gulp. Ning Fan lifted the gourd and gulped down a mouthful of the wine. Immediately, an extremely spicy feeling nearly paralyzed his throat. He had never tasted such a spicy wine in his entire life. Besides, this wine was fragrant to the nose but when it entered the mouth, it tasted fishy. As soon as the mouthful of wine entered his stomach, it immediately turned into a warm current that soaked into his dantian, making his entire body feel as if it was burning. A single mouthful of wine contained at least 8,000 units of magic power. The immense power of the wine spread throughout his entire body. Ning Fan's face turned red. His robes fluttered without any wind and his skin turned purple. What a strong wine power! No wonder this Senior Yun only allowed me to drink 3 mouthfuls and said that I will die if I drink too much. At first, I thought he was threatening me to not drink the 4th mouthful. Now, it seems like the power of this wine is too strong. With my physical body, I definitely can't withstand the power of the 4th mouthful. And this is only the 3rd mouthful for me. If it's an ordinary half-step void refinement realm cultivator, they can only drink 2 mouthfuls at most. Ning Fan's eyes darkened. He thought to himself that Senior Yun really had sharp eyes. He could see through all of my strength with just a glance. Without thinking further, Ning Fan lifted the red gourd and gulped down another 2 mouthfuls. The 3 mouthfuls seemed to be finished at the same time. After he finished drinking, he sealed the gourd and returned it to the table. Then, he immediately sat down in meditation and refined the magic power of nearly 25,000 units in his body. 3 mouthfuls at the same time. Yun Tianjue did not turn around. His sharp brows moved slightly and his eyes faintly showed a hint of approval. This gourd is called the blood gourd. Even though it is only a mid-grade mortal void realm wine, it has a magical function. It can refine the blood of demons and humans into wine. What you just drank was the blood essence of the divine sovereign of the sword world. I thought you could drink 3 mouthfuls, but I didn't expect you to drink it consecutively. You. Not bad. Yun Tianjue's tone was extremely calm, as if he was talking about something insignificant. However, as soon as Ning Fan heard his words, he immediately sucked in a cold breath and thought to himself that this Senior Yun was really ruthless. Using the blood of a divine sovereign of the sword world to brew blood wine. This is really crazy. No wonder this wine can increase my magic power by so much. How is this wine? This is obviously the blood essence of a void fragmentation realm divine sovereign. 10 days later, Ning Fan finished refining the power of the blood wine. He exhaled a mouthful of turbid qi and stood up. His magic power had already reached 338,500 units. The reason why his magic power could increase so much was naturally due to Yun Tianjue's generous gift. Ning Fan cupped his fists and bowed. His eyes fell upon the blood gourd. He really wished he could drink all of this wine. However, this wine was brewed from the blood of a void fragmentation realm divine sovereign after all. Its baleful qi was too strong. Even though he could refine it with his magic power, the baleful qi in the blood could only be worn away after going through countless life and death battles. Even though this wine was good, it was not advisable to drink too much of it. Otherwise, the baleful qi would backfire and Ning Fan would suffer from qi deviation. Thank you for your generous gift, Senior. This junior shall take his leave now. Ning Fan gave Yun Tianjue a deep look and was about to leave. Before he left again, Yun Tianjue suddenly spoke coldly. Don't be in a hurry to leave. I'll give you a test now. What kind of test? Ning Fan asked seriously. Dragon Deciding Valley. Blood. Yun Tianjue didn't explain too much. Suddenly, a shocking sword qi surrounded his body. The sword boat under his feet turned into a huge sword that was 3,000 meters long, and the sword light pierced the sky. The gigantic sword soared into the sky and carried Ning Fan and Yun Tianjue all the way to the west. In just a moment, they had already traveled several million li. Compared to this speed, his early void refinement realm speed was not worth mentioning at all. Riding on this sword, one could travel billions of miles in a day. 3 days later, Yun Tianjue retracted his sword light and brought Ning Fan out of the endless sea, bringing him to a country of snow. The sky was covered in snow and the spiritual energy here was so dense that even the state of Jin couldn't compare. This wasn't a mid-rank cultivation country or even a high-rank cultivation country. This was a void-rank cultivation country. The territory of a country was billions of miles wide. Where is this place? Ning Fan asked again. Snow country, the place where blood is extracted. Yun Tianjue did not explain. When he appeared, the entire country was shocked. Countless nascent soul realm and divine transformation realm cultivators soared into the sky. There were even 3 void refinement realm old monsters who came to stop them. The Rain Sovereign has given an order. Void fragmentation realm cultivators can only enter the dragon deciding valley once every 10 years. Lord Sword God, please don't make things difficult for us. Get lost. A wave of domineering and sharp aura force spread out from Yun Tianjue's body. His aura force was like a sharp sword. With just a tremble, thousands of nascent soul realm and divine transformation realm cultivators were sent flying with severe injuries. Even the 3 void refinement realm old monsters could not withstand a single wave of Yun Tianjue's aura force. Sword God, please calm down. We won't dare to stop you anymore. Everyone was astonished. Today, Yun Tianjue would not reason with anyone at all. Whoever tries to stop him will die. Even though the Rain Sovereign had given the order, no one dared to use it as a token of authority. No one dared to stop Yun Tianjue from bringing his people into the country. He, Yun Tianjue, was just that domineering. Who did he need to reason with? With a flick of his sleeve, a sword light rose and Yun Tianjue led Ning Fan away, disappearing into the wind and snow. He did not need to reason with anyone. His sword was the reason. Chapter 386. With just a single word, he forced countless nascent soul realm and divine transformation realm experts to retreat and even injured 3 void refinement realm experts. Ning Fan was speechless. This Yun Tianjue's ferocity was even beyond his expectations. Ning Fan agreed with Yun Tianjue's style. Since the other party mentioned the Rain Sovereign's order, it was impossible for him to be allowed into Snow Country no matter how much he begged. He might as well just barge in recklessly and no one would really dare to stop him. Yun Tianjue's expression remained cold as if it was an extremely common thing for him to injure nearly 10,000 experts with just a single word. The sword light shrouded the 2 of them as they shuttled through the wind and snow. Half a day later, they had traveled 1 billion li. At the end of the vast snowfield, among the mountains, a snow valley slowly appeared in front of them. It was in the shape of a dragon. Outside the snow valley, Yun Tianjue kept his sword light and landed in the wind and snow with Ning Fan. His eyes looked solemn for the first time. This place was the dragon deciding valley. After entering the valley, follow me closely. Don't leave my side. Don't ask too many questions and don't talk too much. This valley lord's temper isn't too good. Yun Tianjue took a step forward and entered the valley. Ning Fan immediately followed behind him while complaining inwardly. What kind of identity does this valley lord have? How could his temper be worse than Yun Tianjue's? The valley was peaceful. The path was winding and only the whistling of the wind could be heard. But this peaceful snowy scene revealed a strange atmosphere. Deep snow caves could be seen everywhere along the mountain walls of the snowy valley. When Ning Fan and Yun Tianjue passed by one of the caves, they suddenly heard an ear-piercing howl of a beast. At the next moment, hundreds and thousands of shadows of beasts shot out from the caves, roaring and rushing towards them. This group of beasts was actually all at the divine transformation realm and above. There were even more than 10 void refinement realm ferocious beasts among them. Don't be impulsive. If you injure half of the blood fiends, you won't be able to walk out of the dragon deciding valley alive. That person's temper is really bad. Yun Tianjue's cold words were filled with a hint of warning. Then, he took a step forward and a trace of cold sword intent suddenly swept across 10,000 li. As the sword intent spread out, the thousands of beasts' eyes were filled with fear. They shrieked miserably. All of them had a sword mark on their necks. The sword mark was only half an inch deep. As the sword light slashed past, Yun Tianjue sliced off a lot of demonic blood from each of the demonic beasts. Then, he shook the blood gourd and collected all the demonic blood. If the sword wound was any deeper, even if these blood fiends did not die, they would be severely injured. Ning Fan cursed inwardly. Yun Tianjue had just told him not to be impulsive and not to hurt the blood fiends, but he had directly bullied this group of blood fiends. Scram! Yun Tianjue's eyes darkened, and a vast and ferocious aura spread out. The group of beasts was greatly alarmed, and they fled for their lives. This scene deepened Ning Fan's understanding of Yun Tianjue. Yun Tianjue's ferocious might was completely scarier than a void refinement realm ferocious beast. Enter the valley. After Yun Tianjue gave the order, he walked alone in the wind and snow. Ning Fan's eyes swept across the surroundings. Many of the ferocious beasts in the surroundings were filled with fear. However, there were still a few ferocious beasts that were hiding in the dark. Their eyes were staring at Ning Fan with drool dripping from their mouths as if they were looking at a delicious dish. With a frown, Ning Fan quickly followed behind Yun Tianjue. He could imagine that if he keeps a distance from Yun Tianjue, he would certainly be attacked by the group of ferocious beasts. Even Ning Fan might not be able to survive. Humph! A displeased cold snort resounded from the depths of the snow valley. It seemed to be the voice of an old man. This voice carried the powerful attack of a void fragmentation realm attack. It swept across the place, turning into layers of dark clouds that pressed down from the sky. It was enough to kill all experts below the void fragmentation realm. Even though the aura was strong, it had a sense of propriety. It did not go towards Ning Fan but only attacked Yun Tianjue. Obviously, this old man knew that Ning Fan did not hurt the blood fiends. Hence, he would attack whoever attacked him. He was really clear about his gratitude and grudges. Your aura isn't bad. However, you are not my match. Yun Tianjue's expression was cold and indifferent. He remained unmoved. With one of his fingers, he struck out a ray of sword light. All of the old man's aura force was immediately shattered. Boom! The entire snow valley nearly collapsed because of the clash between the two of them. The land within 1,000,000 li rumbled as if there was an earthquake. Ning Fan was inwardly shocked. Yun Tianjue's casual attack was not inferior to the full power of Ning Fan's steel of sun and moon. Inwardly, he thought that Yun Tianjue and this old man were probably not ordinary void fragmentation realm experts. They would definitely be first-rate experts among the void fragmentation realm experts. However, he did not know who would be stronger if he were to go against Moksha Sovereign. Humph! White-robed sword god, you really live up to your reputation. Let's enter the valley. That voice gradually disappeared in the wind and snow. Yun Tianjue remained unperturbed. He did not even look at Ning Fan and just walked into the valley. After passing through the layers of mist, it was a quiet and tranquil sea of snow that stretched as far as 10,000 li. Above the sea of blood, there was only a dilapidated thatched hut with faint smoke rising from its chimney. It was extremely incompatible with the lonely snow in the sky. This place gave Ning Fan a rather uncomfortable feeling. If he was not mistaken, the snow region that he entered after passing through the mist was actually another heavenly dwelling space. Opening a heavenly dwelling with a palm, Ning Fan pondered about the means of a void fragmentation realm old monster. He did not think that it was a complete set of methods. However, he did not understand why Yun Tianjue brought him to this place and why he came to take his blood. Whose blood was he going to take? It was certainly impossible for it to be the blood of the blood fiends from the outside world. Then, was he here to take the blood of that void fragmentation realm old monster? As he thought of this, Ning Fan looked at Yun Tianjue with a strange expression. All the void fragmentation realm experts in the Rain world had submitted to the Rain Palace. They were considered as Yun Tianjue's colleagues. This person wouldn't come here to kill the old man and take his blood, would he? Elder Chu, I'm here to take your blood. It has not even been 10 years. You haven't prepared your dragon blood yet. An impatient voice resounded from the thatched hut. Then, 6 figures walked out. Among the 6 of them, one was an old man while the other was a middle-aged man. Behind them were 4 divine transformation realm experts. The old man was the one who rejected Yun Tianjue. He had fiery red hair and was wearing a hemp robe. His body was surrounded by fiery qi and he did not seem to care about the cold wind and snow at all. His cultivation base was at the void fragmentation realm. The middle-aged man beside him was dressed in green robes. His body was surrounded by billowing clouds. When he glanced at Ning Fan felt a sharp pain in his primordial spirit and was secretly surprised. This middle-aged man in green robes was also a void fragmentation realm expert. 3 void fragmentation realm experts actually came to the Dragon Deciding Valley of Snow Country at the same time today. Yun Tianjue, long time no see. You're still alive. You have the sin mark on your body and your cultivation base is sealed at the first layer. This feeling isn't good, is it? The eyes of the middle-aged man in green robes turned gloomy and he glanced at Yun Tianjue in an extremely unfriendly manner. Yun Tianjue did not even look at him. Instead, his eyes were fixed on the red-haired old man and he repeated what he said just now. Elder Chu, I'm here to take your blood. Yun Tianjue. I've already said that there won't be any dragon blood for you within 10 years. I don't have a share. He should have a share. He is the newly promoted revered elder of the Great Heaven Palace. His name is Zhou Ming. According to the rules of the Rain Palace, a newly promoted revered elder will be rewarded with at least a pot of dragon blood. So, he is Zhou Ming. Elder Chu's eyes immediately turned strange. The middle-aged man in green robes beside him immediately reprimanded him with a grim expression. You are Zhou Ming. Revered Yen was killed by you. Obviously, that revered Yen was quite related to this void fragmentation realm expert in green robes. Perhaps he was his junior. The middle-aged man in green robes released a strong aura force towards Ning Fan. However, Yun Tianjue flicked his sleeve and dispersed his aura force. Yun Tianjue withdrew his sleeve. He did not even look at the middle-aged man in green robes. His expression was cold and arrogant. Go and take your dragon blood. Yun Tianjue ordered Ning Fan coldly. Ning Fan's mind raced. His eyes scanned the surroundings and he inwardly deduced that Yun Tianjue was not on good terms with that void fragmentation realm expert in green robes. Judging from their positions, the 4 divine transformation realm experts were standing behind the void fragmentation realm expert in green robes. They seemed to be on the same side. That red-haired old man, on the other hand, had an angry expression when facing everyone. He did not seem to be on good terms with the void fragmentation realm expert in green robes nor Yun Tianjue. After making a detailed analysis, Ning Fan did not even look at that void fragmentation realm expert in green robes. He also did not care about his questioning. Ning Fan was a revered elder of the Rain Palace. A dignified void fragmentation realm expert actually dared to attack Ning Fan in front of him. Ning Fan had nothing to say to such a person. As for offending this person, didn't he already offend him the moment they met? Fortunately, Ning Fan had Yun Tianjue's protection. He was not afraid at all. He just cupped his fists and greeted the red-haired old man. Junior Zhou Ming greets Elder Chu. Before Ning Fan could finish his words, his expression suddenly changed. The red-haired old man grinned his white teeth. His eyes shone brightly and he pointed one of his fingers at Ning Fan. All of a sudden, a scorching wave of fire rushed towards Ning Fan. It was actually the might of a mortal void flame. If you can withstand this flame, I will give you 3 pots of dragon blood. Elder Chu said with interest. As soon as his words fell, the expressions of all the cultivators including the void fragmentation realm experts in green robes changed. 3 pots. Obviously, this amount was a lot for a divine transformation realm revered elder like Ning Fan. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. Although this flame seemed to be powerful, it still held back some of its power. Even if Ning Fan could not withstand this flame, he would not be hurt at all. However, it would be difficult for him to get the dragon blood from that old man. Yun Tianjue brought Ning Fan to the dragon deciding valley. Although it was a test, it was actually to get the dragon blood for Ning Fan. If Ning Fan is afraid of this flame, not only will he lose the supreme treasure of dragon blood, but Yun Tianjue, Elder Chu, and the others will also look down on him. Without saying a word, he took a step forward and clawed at the sea of fire with his 5 fingers. A vortex of yin-yang fish rose from the center of his palm. It was actually the fire-plucking technique. As soon as this technique was used, the raging sea of fire immediately disappeared without a trace. All of it was absorbed into Ning Fan's steel of sun and moon. Elder Chu took a deep breath. Then, his eyes were filled with joy. Good. Good. You are indeed worthy of having the indestructible fire physique. Despite having a divine transformation realm cultivation base, you can even withstand the attack of a mortal void flame. You are not bad. Elder Chu slowly walked towards Ning Fan. He patted his storage pouch and took out 3 jade pots. Each of the pots contained some dragon blood. Even though Ning Fan did not know what grade this so-called dragon blood was, he was certain that it was not much weaker than the blood of the divine sovereign that he attracted earlier just by smelling it. Thank you for your generous gift, Elder Chu. Ning Fan cupped his fists to express his gratitude. No need. This is what you deserve. The dragon blood has already been obtained. Yun Tianjue, take this person and leave. The dragon deciding valley does not welcome you. Old man Chu waved his hand impatiently. Just as he was about to leave, a ray of sword light suddenly appeared on his neck. It was actually Yun Tianjue who was holding his sword with one hand as if he wanted to kill this void fragmentation realm expert with a single strike. What is the meaning of this? Elder Chu was startled. He actually didn't see how Yun Tianjue attacked, it was too fast. One should know that Elder Chu was a cultivator at the 2nd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm after all. For him to be unable to see through Yun Tianjue's sword light, it was inexcusable. It was widely rumored in the outside world that Yun Tianjue was just at the 1st layer of the void fragmentation realm. However, it seemed like that was not the case. However, after thinking about it, Elder Chu's face darkened. As one of the void fragmentation realm supremes of the rain world, he had never had a sword or saber placed on his neck before. Let him go to the blood dragon pool to collect his blood himself, Yun Tianjue said coldly. Impossible. He's only at the peak stage of the soul formation stage. If he enters the blood dragon pool, he'll die for sure. I don't like nonsense. Yun Tianjue didn't give Elder Chu any leeway to refuse. He didn't like to talk nonsense. If Elder Chu rejected his request, his sword would immediately slash down. He didn't like to reason with people. Ning Fan's expression changed but he did not interrupt. At this moment, he was still confused. He did not know what exactly Yun Tianjue was thinking. He said that it was a test for me. Then, he brought me to collect the dragon blood and even forced a void fragmentation realm expert to submit with his sword and saber. You are ruthless. Fine, this old man will allow him to enter the blood dragon pool. However, if this junior dies, don't blame me. Elder Chu was both angry and curious. He had heard that Yun Tianjue was arrogant and despotic. However, it was his first time seeing this person bringing a junior to obtain the dragon blood. He inwardly guessed that Ning Fan might have some kind of relationship with Yun Tianjue. He won't die. He didn't die even after drinking 3 mouthfuls. How could he die in the blood dragon pool? Yun Tianjue's tone was calm, but it immediately shocked Elder Chu. 3 gulps in a row. Who below the void refinement realm can drink 3 mouthfuls of your blood wine in a row? Elder Chu carefully studied Ning Fan. His eyes were filled with a hint of inquisitiveness. Gradually, he realized that he could not see through this little fellow. After thinking for a while, he finally nodded and agreed to Yun Tianjue's request. Alright. I'll make preparations right away and try to open the blood dragon pool tomorrow. Today, all of you can rest in the dragon deciding valley. As for the rest of you. Elder Chu's gaze shifted to the void fragmentation realm cultivator in green robes and said hesitantly. We might as well open the blood dragon pool. Yun Jinghong, the 4 newly advanced revered elders that you brought here will enter the blood dragon pool tomorrow. From what Elder Chu said, the void fragmentation realm cultivator in green robes was actually the 7th prince of the Rain Palace, Yun Jinghong. As soon as they heard that they were going to enter the blood dragon pool, the eyes of the 4 divine transformation realm cultivators flashed with fear. Only the void fragmentation realm cultivator in green robes nodded with satisfaction. Oh. They can also enter the blood dragon pool. If that's the case, I'll thank Elder Chu on behalf of the 4 juniors for your generous gift. After all, if they can enter the blood dragon pool once, it's definitely a rare experience for them even if they might die. Hee hee. Since we're only going to enter the blood dragon pool tomorrow, can you allow me to settle the old scores with this Yun Tianjue today? Yun Jinghong said the word old scores with great resentment. He took a step forward. His green robes fluttered in the wind. Clouds and chi appeared around his body. The hollow space suddenly collapsed and his aura force was terrifying. White-robed sword god, Yun Tianjue. Hee hee. You're just at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. What kind of sword god are you? You're just the son of a divine envoy. If you didn't obtain the inheritance of the sword devil by luck, how could you become a divine son step by step? You're highly regarded by my father but you didn't think about serving him. Instead, you killed my 4th brother for a woman. I'll settle this score with you today. Yun Tianjue remained silent but his eyes became slightly cold. You're at the void fragmentation realm and so am I. Today, I've already reached the bottleneck of the 2nd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. In time to come, I'll certainly break through to the 2nd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. You're no match for me. You're just a person who lost your memory. You abandoned your emotions to cultivate the sword and you can't even remember your own woman. What qualifications do you have to be the leader of the 7th prince? Yun Jinghong sneered. Woman. Yun Tianjue felt a pain in his heart but he did not know the reason. His eyes became even colder. Someone like you doesn't deserve to obtain the supreme treasure of the Rain Palace, profound radiance blood gourd. Hand over the blood gourd. Otherwise, I'll report to my father the day I break through to the 2nd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm to him and take away your other arm. Yun Jinghong said aggressively. You? Yun Tianjue's eyes were like a piercing cold sword. It was like a piece of ice that would never melt even after 10,000 years. He was never a person who would be bullied by others. Moreover, every word that Yun Jinghong said displeased him. For thousands of years, everyone in the world knew that he was a void fragmentation realm expert. However, they only knew that he was at the 1st heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Because he had made a huge mistake, he was planted with a sinful seal, his cultivation base was sealed and his arm was crippled. He could be said to be the shame of the Rain Palace. However, was he really just at the 1st heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm? Ning Fan shook his head. At least from his point of view, Yun Tianjue was much stronger than Elder Chu and Yun Jinghong. He was even comparable to Moksha Sovereign. Yun Tianjue took a step forward. Under the tremendous force of his stomp, the mountains and rivers shook. Wind and snow howled and sword chi flew everywhere. Under this sword chi, Yun Jinghong, who was at the 1st heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, actually trembled and his primordial spirit felt like it was going to shatter. In front of Yun Tianjue, he was as weak as an ant. When he met Yun Tianjue's gaze, his eyes turned bloodshot as if he was pierced by a sword. When he met Yun Tianjue's aura force, he felt as if his chest had suffered a heavy blow. All of a sudden, he retreated tens of steps before he could stabilize his body. Immediately after that, he coughed out a mouthful of blood. His face was filled with disbelief. Fourth heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. This is impossible. You should be at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. When you killed fourth brother, you should have been planted with the devil subduing sin seal by my father. It's impossible for you to continue making breakthroughs. Could it be that you have already broken through that sinful seal? But how is this possible? Yun Jinghong's face was filled with fear. The fourth heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm was a terrifying cultivation realm. He thought that Yun Tianjue was at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. He did not expect that Yun Tianjue was actually this strong. If it wasn't for the fact that Yun Tianjue did not intend to kill him, he would certainly be killed by that sword strike. Shocking. He, a dignified first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, could not even withstand a single blow from Yun Tianjue. This time, I will be merciful. Next time, you might not be able to survive. I don't like to talk nonsense. However, killing you is as easy as killing a dog. Yun Tianjue glanced at Yun Jinghong from the corner of his eyes. With arrogance and indifference, he carried Ning Fan into the depths of the dragon deciding valley. Ning Fan found it hard to calm his astonishment. An old monster at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm was an existence that Ning Fan had to look up to. However, this kind of old monster actually did not have the strength to fight back after falling into Yun Tianjue's hands. Yun Tianjue's strength was a little terrifying. If I have this person's strength, why would I be afraid of Moksha Sovereign? For the first time, Ning Fan's eyes burned with passion while facing Yun Tianjue. Chapter 387. In the middle of the night, Ning Fan stood in the guest house of the dragon determining valley. Of course, there was a guest house. Even though Elder Chu lived alone in the thatched cottage, the guest house of the dragon determining valley was meticulously prepared. The Dragon Determining Valley was the #1 sect in the Snow Country. There were 1 million members in the sect. Naturally, most of them were in the Snow Country outside the valley. Only a few mute servants were left in the guest house. Dragon Determining Valley Lord, Chu Chang'an. Chu Chang'an is a loner. He has a bad temper towards everyone, but he is straightforward. If I have enough strength, I can make friends with him. Prince Hongyun Yun Jinghong. This person is narrow-minded and his methods are vicious. He wanted to kill me just because he heard my name. This person must be extremely conceited. Among the void fragmentation realm experts of the Rain Palace, only the 6th heavenly layer Divine Emperor realm experts can obtain the title. However, he called himself Hongyun. I suppose he is determined to break through to the 6th heavenly layer and become a Divine Emperor realm expert. In the snowy night, Ning Fan stood outside the building and muttered to himself. He was analyzing the 2 void fragmentation realm experts that he met during the day. Even though he was still confused when Yun Tianjue brought him here, he still needed to understand the other party's temperament. Knowing oneself and knowing one's enemy would allow one to deal with things with ease. There were still some things that he did not understand. For example, what was the use of the dragon blood? Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out 3 jade pots. Each of them contained the so-called dragon blood. After scanning the contents of the jade pots with his spirit sense, Ning Fan's frown deepened. This dragon blood was called blood, but it was not. If Ning Fan refined these 3 pots of dragon blood, he could increase his magic power by at least 5,000 units. If it is mixed with pills, if he uses the blood to refine pills, it would increase his magic power by at least 10,000 units. If it is brewed into wine like what Yun Tianjue did, it might increase his magic power by more than 15,000 units. This dragon blood might be the legendary medicinal blood. It is used to raise demon beasts and extract their blood to nourish their blood using special methods. The demon blood raised by cultivators will naturally not be refined directly. It must be used to make medicine or wine. That is why it is called medicinal blood. This dragon blood is probably an extremely high-grade medicinal blood. If Senior Yun Tianjue didn't bring me here, I definitely wouldn't have known that I would be promoted to a revered elder and obtain medicinal blood. If I can borrow Senior Yun Tianjue's blood gourd and use it to brew wine, how wonderful would that be? But Senior Yun Tianjue. It wasn't of a high grade, but it had a wonderful effect. I'm sure Senior Yun won't lend me the blood gourd. According to Senior Yun's words, I will head to the Blood Dragon Pool tomorrow. I believe that is the place where the blood is nurtured. It seems that this place is rather dangerous, but have I not encountered enough dangers along the way? Ning Fan took a deep breath and his eyes gradually calmed down. Then, he recalled some of the secret news that he had heard during the day. Sinful imprint, crippled arm, for a woman, indifference, cruelty, brother killing, ingratitude. As Ning Fan described Yun Tianjue, he seemed to have a better understanding of him. In Ning Fan's opinion, the reason why Yun Tianjue killed him was because of a woman. To be able to anger the cold and emotionless Yun Tianjue, that woman was definitely very important to him. Perhaps the fourth prince had injured that woman, and that was why he had died. Ning Fan definitely did not like to pry into other people's privacy. However, he had a good impression of this Yun Tianjue and was slightly concerned about him. Thinking about it again, that Yun Jinghong had claimed that Yun Tianjue had forsaken his emotions to cultivate the sword, forgetting everything, even his beloved daughter. In that case, it was not surprising that he had forgotten about a passerby, Ning Qian. Ning Qian. Ning Fan's eyes suddenly showed some self-reproach. He was not looking for Ning Qian because he missed her. He did not have a mother since he was young. He did not miss his mother whom he had never met. He just felt a little ashamed and worried. He was ashamed because as a son, he could not even predict his mother's life and death. He was truly a son in vain. He was worried because Ning Qian's birth destiny was concealed by someone. Ning Fan found it hard to imagine what kind of expert could conceal a cultivator's birth destiny. Could it be that Ning Qian was also tricked by a true immortal? In my memory, my surname is Yun. The divination of the Dong Su realm also showed that I need to look for Yun Tianjue in order to find Ning Qian. From this, it can be inferred that my father is also a member of the Rain Palace. My mother and my birth destiny have both been affected. Perhaps it is not a coincidence. Could it be that my parents have offended someone which resulted in this disaster? Perhaps there are also enemies in the Rain Palace. In the future, I can't look for Ning Qian openly. Ning Fan was silent. After some deliberation, he decided not to mention Ning Qian's name to anyone. Yun Tianjue had already asked her but to no avail. If there is a chance in the future, I will ask Yun Ruowei. Other than these two people, Ning Fan would not mention Ning Qian's name to a third person. Hee hee. Isn't this revered Ming? I didn't expect that the revered devil who has killed countless people would also have the interest to enjoy the snow. How ridiculous. A few mocking voices sounded from the wind and snow. Gradually, 4 figures walked out from the snow. The 4 of them looked at Ning Fan with disdain. They were none other than the 4 divine transformation realm experts he saw during the day. All 4 of them had white beards and white hair. Their bone ages were already more than 3,000 years old. All of them were at the half-step void refinement realm. Who are you? Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. The revered 5 elements of the Vermilion Heaven Palace. The 4 of them answered with cold smiles. Revered 5 elements, Ning Fan's eyes turned slightly serious. After he became a revered elder, he deliberately gathered a lot of information about the Rain Palace. He joined the Great Heaven Palace and his subordinate was Yun Tianjue, a void fragmentation realm expert. As for Revered Flame, he was a revered elder of the Scarlet Heaven Palace and his subordinate was Yun Jinghong. In the Scarlet Heaven Palace, Revered Flame was the fire cultivator with the highest potential. Naturally, he was highly valued by the Rain Palace. The 5 strongest revered elders of the Scarlet Heaven Palace were the revered 5 elements elders. Revered Flame was the one with the lowest bone age. However, he had a cultivation base at the peak divine transformation realm and his combat power was extremely high. The 4 people in front of Ning Fan were the other 4 revered elders. Revered gold, revered wood, revered earth and revered water. In the endless sea, a half-step void refinement realm expert would be the supreme being of the internal sea. However, in the Rain Palace, a half-step void refinement realm expert would only be a high-level revered elder. When he thought of that, Ning Fan's eyes turned slightly gloomy. Could it be that the 4 of them came here in the middle of the night because of revered flame? You are Zhou Ming. Inextinguishable fire body, what a great name. Only Yun Yen would be cursed to death by you. I have to say, you've done a good deed. Now that you've killed Yun Yen, the 4 of us will rise in status in the Scarlet Heaven Palace. Ning Fan glanced at the 4 of them from the corner of his eyes. He had overestimated them. Indeed, the 4 of them seemed to be here to cause him trouble. However, their purpose was not to seek revenge for revered flame. Hand over the 3 pots of dragon blood. Otherwise. Humph. Revered Gold took a step forward. With a twist of his left hand, a ray of golden light was shot towards Ning Fan. His speed was not any slower than Ning Fan's. That ray of golden light was clearly the light of the heavenly dwelling. It seemed like he wanted to take Ning Fan into the treasure of the heavenly dwelling and bully him. Ning Fan's eyes turned gloomy. He did not dodge and allowed Revered Gold to take him away. In a heavenly dwelling that was filled with rolling thunder, Ning Fan stood upright without any fear. He was surrounded by 4 revered elders. Each of them had a cold smile on their faces. Jin Zun, in particular, was holding a golden ring in his hand. He seemed to be very proud of himself. It seemed like this heavenly dwelling was created by that golden ring. Zhou Ming. Hand over the 3 pots of dragon blood and we will only shatter your primordial spirit. We won't kill you. Revered Gold said, not allowing Ning Fan to refuse. Shatter my primordial spirit? You think you can do that? Ning Fan closed his eyes. His expression turned even colder. It turned out that even if he came to the Rain Palace, he would still be bullied without strength and background. With his current strength, he could come and go as he pleased in this heavenly dwelling. Since he purposely entered this heavenly dwelling, he did not have a kind heart. When the 4 revered elders saw that Ning Fan did not know what was good for him, their eyes were filled with anger. At the same time, they made hand seals and attacked. Earth Primordial Sword. Lightning Dao Whip. Minor Ice Abyss Technique. Wind Death Technique. The techniques that the 4 of them displayed were all peak divine transformation realm techniques. Zhou Ming, you can break Yun Yan's flames with your indestructible fire body but you can't break our techniques. Revered Gold said with disdain. Is that so? Earth Collapse. Lightning Destruction. Ice Shatter. Wind Scatter. Ning Fan clawed at the air. 5 10,000 zhang tall black dragon tombstones suddenly appeared in the sky. Clearly, he was displaying the 5 tombstones of dragons. With the help of Fu Li's blood and vast magic power, the power of this technique was not any weaker than a half-step void technique. The 5 tombstones could bury 5 dragons. It could break the 5 elements and seal a cultivator's incarnation and primordial spirit. This technique could even break Shiman Ye's 5 elements devil sound. It was easy for it to break 4 peak divine transformation realm techniques. Boom! As the 5 tombstones fell, the techniques of the 4 revered beings were forcibly broken. Waves of magic power spread out in all directions. The 4 revered beings' faces were filled with astonishment. They recognized that the technique that Ning Fan displayed was actually the secret technique of the Black Dragon clan. The Black Dragon did not belong to the 5 elements. The 5 tombstones could break the 5 elements in the world. However, this technique had long been lost. Why did Ning Fan have this technique? From the 4 revered beings' point of view, even if Ning Fan accidentally obtained this technique, he was neither a demon nor a demon cultivator with the ancestral blood of the Black Dragon. How could he display this technique? They could not figure it out. However, this technique was clearly capable of restraining all 5 elements in the world. Unless the opponent's cultivation level was higher than this technique, all 5 elements' magic techniques would be completely restrained. Boom! When the 5 tombstones fell, the 4 revered beings felt like they were being crushed by a mountain. They could not move at all. They coughed out mouthfuls of blood and tried their best to break the tombstones. However, their hearts were filled with astonishment. The 4 half-step Void Refinement Realm experts were actually severely injured by Ning Fan in a single move. Other than Void Refinement Realm old monsters, who else could injure 4 half-step Void Refinement Realm experts in a single move? This Ning Fan's strength is somewhat terrifying. He's just a peak Divine Transformation Realm expert. Could it be that his combat power is already comparable to a Void Refinement Realm expert? This is bad. We need to leave this heavenly dwelling quickly. We are no match for him. We will be killed by him here. The 4 of them were terrified. If Ning Fan smashed the tombstones again, the 4 of them could not guarantee their survival. Don't you think it's a little too late to leave? A pair of purple wings suddenly appeared on Ning Fan's back. When he flapped them, he disappeared without a trace. At the next moment, a drop of thick ink spread out in front of the 4 revered beings, drawing them into the thick ink. Black Torrent Spirit Splitting Technique. Ning Fan's spirit sense was already at the Void Refinement Realm. Naturally, his incarnation's strength also rose to the same level. The power of this Black Torrent Spirit Splitting Technique also increased tremendously. How could half-step Void Refinement Realm experts resist it? Perhaps it was very difficult to improve one's cultivation level. However, there might be shortcuts to improving one's spirit sense. Even though Ning Fan's cultivation level had yet to reach the Void Refinement Realm, as long as his spirit sense breaks through, he would also possess Void Refinement Realm combat power. What kind of magic technique is this? It's basically a Void Refinement Realm attack. Ah! As the black sword light swept across, the 4 of them were instantly crushed into pieces. When the blood mist dispersed, Ning Fan reformed his physical body. His white robes were untainted by even a speck of dust. In his hands were 4 storage pouches and 4 primordial spirits. Killing others and seizing their treasures. Who wouldn't do that? When it comes to killing others and seizing their treasures, Ning Fan was the expert. When he scanned the storage pouches of the 4 of them, he could not help but frown. There were only tens of millions of immortal jades in them. Ning Fan frowned. It seems like the revered elders of the Rain Palace have an extremely low salary compared to the devil cultivators who went around killing others to earn money. Even though there were only a few immortal jades, their pills, cultivation methods and magic treasures were all top-notch. The revered elders of the Rain Palace may not have a high salary, but the benefits they received were exceptionally good. It was enough to make one green with envy. If there's some gray income, it would definitely be faster than earning money in the sea of blood of the devil cultivators. At the spot where the 4 of them died, traces of golden light slowly condensed into a Dao fruit. It seemed to be left behind by a dead golden venerate. It fell on Ning Fan's palm. He had obtained a Dao fruit after just killing 4 of them. His luck was getting better and better. Other than this Dao fruit, Ning Fan actually had another unexpected gain. After the blood mist dispersed, a cloud of white cold chi slowly condensed. It was actually a cloud of heavenly frost cold chi. This heavenly frost cold chi was called Divine Frost Soul. It was ranked 3rd among the 12 types of cold chi. It probably belonged to venerated water. It was another unexpected gain. Seeing Ning Fan casually taking away their storage pouches and supreme treasures, the 4 primordial spirits were filled with shock, anger and fear. Zizhou Ming. You can't snatch our treasures. You can't kill us either. Otherwise, Prince Jing Hong will certainly know that you're the one who killed us. With his personality, he definitely won't let you walk out of the Dragon Determining Valley alive. Thank you for your reminder. Ning Fan sneered. He patted his storage pouch and chanted. Puppets. Appear. All of a sudden, 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets appeared in front of him, frightening the 4 of them. 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets? Ning Fan actually has 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets with him. Adding his own combat power, he would be able to handle 4 Void Refinement Realm experts with ease. The 4 of them were just half-step Void Refinement Realm experts. Yet, they dared to find trouble with Ning Fan. They were basically courting death. What do you want? The 4 of them became even more frightened. They were certain that Ning Fan would not dare to kill them, but they did not think that Ning Fan would let them go. You're right. It's unwise to kill all of you now. After leaving the Dragon Determining Valley, I'll kill all of you. Who would know that I'm the one who killed the 4 of you? Soul search. Ning Fan showed no mercy and directly searched their souls. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, the 4 of them became idiots. Ning Fan handed them to the spiritual puppets and sealed them. Once they leave the Dragon Determining Valley, he would let the spiritual puppets devour their primordial spirits. The 4 of them were revered Elder Yu Dian. But so what? Ning Fan never liked being bullied by others. Since the 4 of them wanted to destroy his primordial spirits, he would kill them. As long as he did it secretly and did not let Yun Jinghong know about it, it would be fine. As for the tokens that were related to their identities, Ning Fan discarded them in this heavenly dwelling space. A wisp of purple-golden mist rose from the tip of his finger. When he waved it at the sky, it separated the heavenly dwelling space. Then, he took a step forward and returned to the outside world. His baleful qi did not leak out at all. Obviously, he had already cultivated his baleful qi to an extremely high level. After a night of indifferently sweeping through the wind and snow, the sky was about to brighten. Ning Fan turned around, intending to return to his room. All of a sudden, a voice sounded from a place where no one was around. Did you kill them? This voice appeared without any warning. It clearly showed the scene of Ning Fan and the 4 of them leaving. Ning Fan was inwardly shocked. However, when he saw the person who was hiding, he could not help but feel relieved. This person was none other than Yun Tianjue. Since Yun Tianjue had already guessed that Ning Fan had killed the 4 of them, Ning Fan would not deny it. Since Yun Tianjue did not get along well with Yun Jinghong, he probably would not blame him for killing Yun Jinghong's juniors. I only destroyed their physical bodies. Their primordial spirits are still intact. However, once they leave the Dragon Determining Valley, they will die. Ning Fan admitted. Very good. Since they hit you, you should hit them back. Since they wanted to kill you, you should kill them back. You are a member of my great heaven palace. It is not their place to bully you. Yun Tianjue's tone was cold and indifferent. However, his words warmed Ning Fan's heart. He did not expect that the infamous Sword Devil would also protect his own. Ning Fan had only experienced this kind of feeling from Old Devil. Today, he felt it again from Yun Tianjue. Seeing that Ning Fan was not in danger, Yun Tianjue coldly turned around and intended to leave. However, he was stopped by Ning Fan. He would certainly obtain a lot of dragon snow during this trip. However, in order to maximize the medicinal effect of the dragon blood, he needed one thing. That was to brew blood into wine. Senior, can you lend me your blood gourd for a while? As soon as Ning Fan said that, he was stunned. What happened to him? He actually dared to make a request of Sword Devil. It was a very strange feeling. He rarely asked for help from others and would never ask for anything from others. However, he said that in an extremely casual manner, as if it was a matter of course. However, as soon as the words left his mouth, Ning Fan shook his head with a wry smile, regretting his slip of the tongue. Didn't you see how Yun Jinghong was beaten like a dog when he asked Sword Devil for his blood gourd? Yun Tianjue halted his steps. His eyes turned gloomy. He hated it the most when people made requests of him. However, when he saw Ning Fan's wry smile, his eyes gradually softened. After pondering for a while, he understood what Ning Fan wanted. You want to brew blood wine? No. This junior made a slip of the tongue. I definitely won't dare to have any thoughts about senior's blood gourd. Ning Fan shook his head. He did not think that Sword Devil would borrow something from others. It was already rare for him not to rob others. Yun Tianjue frowned. He was a loner. He would never talk to anyone more than 3 sentences, let alone share a table and drink wine with anyone. Anyone who made a request of him or asked for treasures would be sent flying by a single sword strike from him. Despite Yun Tianjue's indifference, he had a good impression of Ning Fan. This young man was a little to his liking. If it wasn't for that, he definitely would not share a drink with Ning Fan, let alone bring a stranger to the dragon-determining valley from afar and openly disobey the Rain Sovereign's order to help Ning Fan obtain the dragon blood. He was not a kind person and he would never nurture his juniors. Ning Fan was the first one. Take it. Yun Tianjue casually tossed a blood gourd to Ning Fan and disappeared into the wind and snow, leaving behind a cold sentence. It takes 10 years to brew blood wine. You must return this gourd to me after using it. Ah. Ning Fan was stunned. The Sword Devil who was rumored to be cold and heartless was actually so easygoing. Holding the blood gourd, Ning Fan gently shook it. There was at least a lot of blood wine inside, less than 7 mouthfuls. There's also blood wine inside. Ning Fan opened his mouth to ask but was interrupted by an impatient voice. It's yours. In the depths of the wind and snow, Yun Tianjue said impatiently. Don't embarrass me in the blood pool tomorrow. Yes. Ning Fan cupped his fists and bowed. His eyes were filled with gratitude. Even though Yun Tianjue's reputation was bad, was his reputation good? It was not surprising that there would often be mistakes when judging people based on rumors. With this blood gourd and the blood wine, I wonder if I can break through to the void refinement realm in one go after 10 years. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.